Are we live? Yeah, we're live. We're live.
Yeah, we are going live.
We are live. Great. Welcome everyone to another Saptarishis Darbar session. And this session will be in English for our varied audiences. Varunji, all yours, if you can introduce Vishal Sharma ji.
Right, so let's wait for some time. Okay, hi Sonali, welcome back. Very good evening to you. Ask Universe, hi, we ask the universe only. How are you doing? Harish Patel, hi, again. Good evening. Shri Kumar, good evening. I'll just take 2 minutes. Okay, Ritesh Gupta. Very good evening. So let's start. Friends, as always, today we have with us Mr. Vishal Sharma from Australia, Melbourne, joining us live. He's a great Vastuvid and an astrologer, a great human being who has agreed to come to our channel to help us get remedies and get our life sorted out in a better manner. So let's take in the first question.
By the way, Varun, Vishal has written a lovely book published by Saptarishis Astrology quite some time back. And Vishal, can you show the book? Can you flash the book, please?
Can you see it?
You'll have to lift it a bit up. All right, astrology and Vastu remedies. And what makes me very happy is he has made it absolutely systematic. I haven't seen such a systematic book on remedies, for each nakshatra and for various things, in between, Vishal, you need to talk about the book.
Yeah.
So let's take Varun over. All over to you.
Yes, so we have got a first question from Ritesh Gupta. Ritesh Gupta is asking about his marriage. When will his marriage happen? And he has given the birth details. You need to give me a second so that I can immediately put it up in a chart and can share it. Just give me a second.
Varun, taking a complete horoscope will consume all the time for everybody. It is specific questions would be better. Like, for example, I've got Saturn Rahu conjunction, or I have a toilet in the northeast. Like, I think Devdani has asked a question, okay, which is, I will read it out. Devjani Datta is asking a question. Northeast toilet and overhead tank remedy, please.
Okay, so give me a sec. So northeast toilet, just give me a sec.
They're promoting your book.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm promoting my book. That's true. So let me start with the book, right? So for everyone's benefit, right? So the book is actually book. This is unique in the sense that book is covering the remedies not only for astrology but for Vastu, but also there is a topic on decluttering, for which I have actually writing a book on decluttering as well, right? So the 9 planets has got remedies according to various aspects. There are in fact 9 different types of remedies for each planet, right? So specifically, for example, if you take Moon, you can have a remedy for donation. You can have a remedy for prayer. You can have a remedy for fire. You can have a remedy for spiritual meditation. You can have a remedy for, say, yoga, for argument's sake. You can have remedy to wear. You can have remedy to plant, right? And you can also have precautions, right? What precautions you have to do. So that's what, there are 8 different mechanisms for each planet, which means 8 into 9, 72 different types of remedies across 9 planets, right? Then you have got nakshatras, for which we have got 5 different types of remedies. Then you have Vastu, for which we are discussing now. And then you have a concept of decluttering, which is also discussed. On top of that, every single thing which is being recommended in the book is published in terms of the mantras at the end, which is a good thing. So people don't have to go onto the net and figure it out what is the right yantra, right? So that way, I say that there is a lot of demand for a book like that, which covers everything. You don't have to go out and look for different aspects. Anyway, that's about the book. Now coming back to the northeast of the toilet, right? So northeast is the in a typical Vastu, and nowadays in Vastu, northeast basically Jupiter, right? So that is the direction for Jupiter. So if you have a toilet, the toilet is wet. Toilet is a zone of disposal. That's a disposal activity, right? And so ideally that zone is your south of southwest, which is where a toilet should be. That's a zone of Rahu, where you can toilet. But if you have got a toilet in northeast, then the best way to tackle it is that you can put a green color tape around your toilet sheet. And so the tape, if you have an English style toilet, you just put a 2-inch tape. So the width of the tape has to be around about 2 inch, and put a green colored tape around your toilet sheet on the floor. That should take away the effects of your toilet. Ideally, you should not have the toilet there.
So you're saying, I'm just repeating, trying to understand. You're saying this is the commode.
Yeah.
So then on the floor
where you put your feet, not on the wall, on the back wall, where you put your feet. So starting from the back where your toilet sheet is going, the pit of the toilet sheet normally goes on the back of the wall. So you don't have to do anything on the back of the wall, but where your feet sit, start from the back of your wall, and it's like a U shape. You're covering the U. So it's a three shape. Correct. Exactly. But it has to be green color. The reason we are doing the green color is because north is the zone of Mercury, which is a water element. And the next is the east zone, which is more of a plant element. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to take away the negative energy, because that is coming from the, the disposal activity is more about the earth element, right? So rather than, so when the earth element comes into your northeast zone, that doesn't go well. That's not the right place for that. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to discard the energy using the air element, which is the green element. So that's why we are using the green color to discard that disposal activity. Ideally, you should not have it, but if you can't do it, then apply the green tape. The other option, but one thing you have to remember, that tape has to be at least 2 inch, right? It's not just a minor, 1 centimeter, 2 inch. So that energy flow is removed. The idea behind that is the energy flow is removed.
It is available in markets called radium tapes.
Correct.
Those are 2 inch.
Correct.
2 inch in diameter.
Nowadays, if you search on Google, Amazon.in will tell you that's a radium tape or a Vastu tape or something like that. So that will be one thing to do it, right? What is the other question? Sorry.
Overhead tank in northeast.
Okay, that's something I have to think about it. That's not an easy one to recommend. Maybe we can come back and post it on the forum. Overhead
on the comment section. We can always put it on the comment section.
I can post it there. For the overhead tank, I have to think about what is the best way.
Okay.
But the other thing to remember, you just can't say the overhead tank because depending upon how is the house. So house can be, in the terms of Vastu, there's a concept of called extended and cut. Extended means you have got more energy in that zone. So for example, northeast has got too much north. So if you have a rectangular plot, which is north and south, right, on the axis of north and south, and you have got east and west, which is less. So that means your east and west zones are less, which is mean less energy, which is we call as a cut. The energy is not flowing, right? There is no east and west, but because it is expanded on north and south, you have got more north, you have got more south. So if you have got an overhead tank in north, then you have to think about how do you first balance it? Do you first balance the north and south, then look at the overhead tank? Or do you first balance the east or west, then look at the overhead tank? So you just can't take it, I have got overhead tank in the north and, just apply some remedy. You have to think at the whole picture. You just can't apply straight away.
Okay.
Just don't take it on the face value. Somebody said overhead tank and not do that. You can't just do that.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll take the questions now.
Yeah, I would just like to request one thing. This is more of a remedy section. Even in the ad we have put, it is Vastu and your horoscope remedies.
Yeah.
People should not ask for predictions or analysis of the horoscope.
That we cannot do that without the chart. That's very hard to do that.
Now, Varun, please take some Vastu questions. Many people have asked too many Vastu questions.
Sir, what is the remedy for a plot which is west facing and on a T junction?
See, I don't know why people say west facing plot is wrong, right? I don't see anything wrong with the west facing plot as well, right? There is nothing wrong. West facing is Saturn, right? And Saturn is the planet for gains and wish fulfillment. So it's not, something is wrong. Again, this is not a right way to approach the problem, right? You have to look at the chart of the person who is going to buy the property or in whose name the property is, and then look at where your Saturn is, right? Because Saturn is representing the West. So think about, if Saturn is good, then I don't see why west-facing property is bad for you. If your Mars is good and you're going to buy a west-facing property, which is Saturn, then you have a problem, right? If your Mars is good and Saturn is weak in your chart, and you're going to buy a west-facing property, then you have a problem, right? So it's you can't say that what is the remedy for west-facing? Every direction has got specific directions where the entrances to each directions are good. There are some directions in north which are good. There are some directions in south which are good. There are some direction east which are good. There are some direction which is in west which are good. But you just can't say, well, I've got a west-facing property. Why should I do? You can't. This is not the way to do it. This is a very wrong way of doing it, and you will make mistakes. And eventually, I will say, don't go by this way of picking up one single remedy and saying, well, I want to do it. I will highly encourage you not to follow this path. Do a proper consultation, consult somebody, and then ask for this, but not ask like that. I will be doing an injustice to you by saying that do this, do that, because that will not work for you. And eventually you will say, well, somebody told me at Saptarishis and nothing worked out for me. What is the point of doing that? So I will not encourage you to. I will not even go and say that you should do that. If your chart is
Vastu is very important.
So I will say one more thing, Sunilji. The Vastu without astrology is not Vastu, in my view, right? Your chart is your destiny, and chart will tell you what type of house you will have. So I remember in one of your forums, right, somebody posted that, when Mercury and Ketu are sitting in 1 to 5 relationship, Mercury and Ketu in 1 to 5 relation, you will always have a narrow path. You will always have a narrow hallway. And I have seen so many times when Mercury and Ketu are sitting in 1 to 5, anybody who's the owner of that house, or anybody who has that combination and owns the house, whether it is lease, whether it is a bought property, they always have a hallway which is very narrow. It's not a normal hallway. So my point is that Vastu without astrology is not real Vastu, in my view. The destiny is there. The house you will get is according to your chart. So if your chart doesn't have Vastu defect as such, Mangal is placed well, then you should not have many problems, right? So don't consider Vastu just as Vastu. You have to use astrology. Without that, it's of no use.
One good question. That's a very good point you made. One good question by Manjula Rajiv. Which zone is needed to be balanced for psoriasis skin disease or for skin diseases in general?
Okay, so in astrology, skin disease, we know Mercury is the representation, right? Mercury represents skin, right? So that means in Vastu, that is north, right? So if your north is cut means you have a less energy you have less part of north as compared to the whole building. And when we say we do Vastu, we are talking about your built-up structure, not the whole land. You're looking at the built-up structure, not the surrounding land, which is your backyard and front yard. Whatever is your built-up structure, we are considering that. So north. Since Mercury is north, so if your north is extended, means you have more energy or you have less energy, then you will have an issue with the skin problem. That's from astrology point of view. We also look at moon, which is north of northwest, which also gives you some skin problems. So the two zones to look for is north and north of northwest to tackle your skin problems. These are the two ones. But I will first look at my chart and see what is my Mercury and what nakshatra my Mercury is sitting in, and what is. Because what will that nakshatra will do is that the Mercury will give the result through that nakshatra, right? The Mercury gets activated, whatever that nakshatra is placed in. So you have to just check what Mercury is looking at. and then see where that nakshatra is. So if Mercury is sitting in Mars nakshatra, so you might want to have a look at south as well, because Mars represents south, right? It's not just simple that, or if there is some other planet which is sitting in Mercury nakshatra, then you might have to see what is the trigger for that skin problem, because the nakshatra is Mercury, but might be driven by some other direction. So you have to look at that. But in short, Mercury is for skin, and also moon, north and north of northwest.
And I would personally suggest, decluttering is one of the most beautiful techniques of healing a zone. Like I was just speaking to a very rare healer in Calcutta, a very dear person to me. And incidentally, in Vastu, one of the ways of removing the negative energy, which Vishalji would agree from me, is putting huge blocks of camphor in the 4 different corners, of your house,
Yes, you have discussed this in one of your videos also.
Right.
If I am not mistaken.
Right. Now, the healer was telling me about a particular case of evil spirit possession. And this she did it just 1 week back, and she was meditating at that person's house where the person was possessed. And the person was standing over there, and she just got, I'll cut the whole story short. She just got the remedy that to put a huge camphor in northeast. And after 4 days, every day she called up and found out, is it over? After the 4th day, the person's family confirmed that yes, he's back to normal now. And the healer saw a black energy just going away in her house, So what I would say also is, because I know a lot of people who have skin problems, and I know how tough it is, So psoriasis, especially for Indians, for marriageable age, this thing becomes a problem. So first, declutter that zone. Keep it nice.
So this brings us, please go ahead, sir.
So for each problem of your life, suppose somebody's marriage is not happening, or business issues, decluttering the house, keeping it nice and clean like a hotel room, nice and clean like a hotel room, having fresh energy, changes the whole Vastu within 2 to 3 months. Okay, over to you, Varun. Ask the next question. Vishalji is here.
Yes, this brings us to the next question, which is totally related to what you were speaking. That how to find whether a house is haunted, and if so, how to get rid of that haunting house or that spirit. The question was asked by Mr. Dev.
I better pass this to Sunilji, because I am not very good in finding houses which are haunted. It's normally, in my view, the chart should tell you whether there is a scope of any evil spirit being following you, or you will have a house like that, right? So the chart should tell you. But I normally, I don't want to comment on that piece, because that is something I normally don't go into premises like that. And I live outside India, so I normally don't face that scenarios. But going in the subcontinent, people do have those scenarios. But I think Sunilji is in a better position to comment on that rather than me.
Sure, thank you. See, first and foremost, it's a very broad question and a very big question, which cannot be replied even in a 1 or 2 hour video. That is one. Second, see if the first thing you should see is, has somebody started behaving in a very odd manner, contrary to his normal self. One. Second, you see if there are losses happening, accidents happening, somebody becoming an addict all of a sudden in the family, too many fights, all of a sudden leakage problems.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are so many signs like this. I'm just naming few. You see now You want a remedy, you see your Mahadasha and Antardasha. Okay. Like in you, this Saturn, which direction you all take? West. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah.
Rahu, which direction you all take? South, west.
South of southwest.
South of southwest. Okay. So suppose you are going through this Mahadasha and this Antardasha, you see both the zones.
Yeah, not only both the zones, but also in Vastu, you also see the 180-degree opposite to that.
Opposite, because that balances.
Yeah, because there is an aspect which is going directly. So, 180-degree aspect.
Yeah. Usually in Vastu, which Vishalji will definitely agree, is if you're correcting one zone, you have to also balance the opposite side of it. You have to see this balance over there. So you see, majorly your Mahadasha, Antardasha will show the problem. Okay. Or if there is gutter, what do you call pipes? Your drainage pipes.
Yes, the drain pipes.
Yeah. I'll give you an example from my experience that happened nearly a year back. Somebody was going through a problem. Okay. Huge financial.
Sir, your voice is coming very low.
Is it today? खाना नहीं खाया लगता है. Okay.
ये वैलेंटाइन डे के बाद का इफेक्ट है.
So there was a psychic attack on that person. He called me up. He said psychic attack, all relationships breaking up. Suddenly a lot of fights with everyone. So I said, find out, because I knew the background attack. I said, find out if there is a drainage problem somewhere or a WC problem. He said, yes, in the southeast. In the southeast, where his toilet is, okay, there was a WC pipe broken. After 10 days, he found out there were 3-4 pipes broken in the whole building that was coming to him. And bad smell was coming, extreme bad smell. He tried for 15 days trying to get it corrected. And the day he solved it, the plumber, he broke one thing and all the WC came out, splashed out. Within half an hour, there was an extreme fight between him and his wife. And they tried committing suicide. And after 1 hour, all of a sudden, there was extreme love between them. Because for the energy also to go away, the spirit also to go away. Spirits, they like all this WC energies. They reside over. So for it to go away, it took some time. It took half an hour, 1 hour. So it's a very difficult process. Each case is different. Each case is unique. Let us take more questions, please.
So will I take the next question?
Yes.
Yeah,
please.
go ahead.
Okay. So the next question is from Piyush Salwa. I'll just need to find where that question has gone. Just give me a second. He was in queue for the next question. Okay. Sir, the question is, if Rahu is in the 4th house, does it create any Vastu dosh?
So, so 4th house is
and if yes, what is the solution?
Yeah, so I mean, that's okay. I mean, Rahu is placed in the 4th house. That's okay, right? So what that means is, what that means is that your being a 4th house means, Rahu is not at the right place in general, right? I mean, Rahu is well placed in 3, 6, 10, 11. So normally that is the best place for Rahu, right? But from Vastu perspective, if Rahu is placed in 4th house, yes, it will have problems, right? Now, what you have to look at it from a Vastu perspective is what nakshatra Rahu is placed in, because that is how the Rahu will give the effect. So if Rahu is, for example, in 4th house is placed in, say Mars, I don't know what nakshatra it is placed in, for example, right? Is placed in Mars, then Rahu will give the result of the Mars, and Mars being the element of south, you have to look at south. So your south will have a lot of clutter, because what Rahu means, clutter or something which is of waste, or something like toilet. Even a toilet can come into south. So that's how you look at it. So Rahu in fourth is bad, but depending upon what nakshatra Rahu is placed in, you have to look at the nakshatra lord. Depending upon that planet, so if it is Mars, you look at south. If Rahu is placed in Mercury, you look at north. If Rahu is placed in Moon, then you look at northwest. Rahu is placed in Jupiter, then you look at north of northeast, right? Northeast. If Rahu is placed in Ketu, you look at it north of northeast. What will Rahu do is, Rahu will put something which is of waste, which is of no use, which is of clutter. That is the direction you will look at it. But you don't see Rahu just as in the fourth house. You see how Rahu will give the result through what nakshatra. That is the important thing you have to look at it. And that's why Astro Vastu is so powerful, because the moment you see that nakshatra lord, you directly go into that zone and you will find there is a symptom or there is something which is sitting with you. You can correlate with your chart and go and look at that direction, you will see that. So, for example, if suppose Rahu is sitting in, say, Jupiter's nakshatra, you go into northeast and you might see there is a toilet. You have put a lot of stuff which is of no use, or you have put a lot of yellow element, because that is the zone which is yellow colored. So you have put a lot of yellow items in your northeast, right? So my suggestion is, don't just go Rahu in fourth. You have to find out what nakshatra Rahu is sitting in, what is its nakshatra lord, and what that nakshatra lord represents the direction, and then you tackle it. Does that make sense? Or
that's good.
Yes, it makes sense.
So for any Vastu, don't take planet in your zodiac as the treatment. Look at the planet, what that nakshatra it is sitting in, and what is the lord of that nakshatra, and then look at that planet's direction. Look at that direction. On the same side, also look at the 180 opposite to that. Just don't look at that, because you have to look at that, but also the 180 opposite to that. So both the directions you have to look at it.
Okay, great.
So this is something being mentioned in the book, by the way. We have mentioned for each zone what things has to go and what things not to go. I know. I mean to say, it's not a shameless. I mean, you could say I'm doing a shamelessly promoting it, but this is something worthly mentioned in the book. So it's worthwhile reading it.
Very true, no doubt. Okay. Coming down to the next question, Gaganpreet Singh, your question is also answered with this question of Piyush Savla, wherein you have asked about Rahu, Mars in 9th. So it is again answered. And so is Extreme Fun, your question is answered, and Moon Rahu conjunction in 9th again. So
can we take up Sonia's question? That was a very...
Yes, sir, I am taking that up only, sir. Sir, what should be the remedy for toilet in north, plus red tiles and red basin and red WC?
So see, the
it's
first
affecting my career badly, and changing everything will cost a fortune, which I can't afford. Sir, remedy.
So if you have got a toilet in north, right, which is the element of, which is the element, water element, and suddenly you put a red color. What is red? Red is fire, right? If you put a fire element or fire colored base in north, what is going to happen? Water and fire don't get along, right? So fire and water comes and steams comes out. So it's not the right element to have in the first place, right? So the best thing is to make everything which is more compatible to that zone, which is a blue color element. So you can use blue, right? But if you can't remove that, the best way to tackle it, as we said for the northeast, is to use a green color tape, which is an anti-element, which will take away the energies for that. But if it is red, I would highly recommend to actually remove that toilet sheet and make it white, and then use the green element. But ideally, you should not have a toilet there in north. That's my first recommendation. Second, if you have a red color, make it white and then use the green color tape, because red is not helping you. Red is just going to cause more trouble, right? So treat it with the green tape in the north. That is my first recommendation. But if you can't use it, if you can have toilet somewhere else, then move it, right? Take it in the south of southwest or somewhere else. That will be the advice. But just don't think that I can't move it. It will cause a lot of problems to you. If you have a toilet in north, that's not good. That's not going to help you. That's going to cause a lot of problems. And also you have to see, what planet in your chart is representing, or what nakshatra Mercury is sitting in, right? So that is the other thing you have to look at it. What is it doing it? So what is the question she's asking? What is the symptom she is facing? Or what is the problem she's facing?
So she is facing issues related to career.
So career is, okay, so career is not, well, North is about opportunities, right? North is about opportunities and business. Career, you should also look at East, because that is Sun, right? So if you want to look at career, you also look at West, because that is Saturn. Saturn is the 10th house of, in your natural zodiac. So that is the Karka for 10th house. But also look at Sun, because that is also give you jobs or relationships with the higher authority. So depending upon what type of career she wants to look at it, she needs to look at East and she needs to look at West. North is only for the opportunities. If she wants opportunities in business, if you want opportunities in something else, that is where North is. But for career, I will say, please look at West and East. Saturn and Sun.
Right.
Sun is for government authority, government job, and Saturn is for just for career, right?
Great.
Wayne McCarthy has asked a question.
Yeah.
Wayne McCarthy has asked a question. Question to Vishal. Could you please recommend some good books on Vastu? The best one, not only his own book.
No, I will not say my book is best. Mine is my book is actually, to be honest with you, my book has come out because of Sunilji's efforts, right? He actually inspired me to write this book, so I wrote that. And my mother has done so much practice for so many years, so I wrote that. My book is not about Vastu. My book is actually end-to-end remedy for all type of scenarios which you can pick it up, right? It has nothing to do. It will not teach you what Vastu is or what astrology predictions is. It will give you, if you know the problem, this is the remedy, go and do it and execute that. And these are applied solutions which have been applied. So these are not something, we have just picked up. And you can actually learn. You can make your own remedies through this. It's not just what I have told you can do it. Now, in terms of, Vastu books, I would say there are a lot of books, but one book which has recently come out, and I have read that book and I have been highly impressed, and, if people want to read it, is the book by A.B. Shuklaji on Vastu Chintamani. That's a fantastic book. If anybody wants to read it, I would highly recommend go and buy that copy. It's a fantastic book, Vastu Chintamani by A.B. Shuklaji, who is the president of ICAS, I think ICAS India. So he has written a fantastic book. That book is a collection of his lectures, which gives a very good view of this, the so-called Vastu, which is not traditional Vastu where you demolish stuff. This is the Vastu where you don't demolish stuff, but you just balance the energies of your house, and then you control and get the results. But that's one book I would recommend. But obviously, there are other books which are there, and there are old classical ones out there. But this is one book which I found it quite useful.
Maya Mattam,
Right.
Books by Sahasrabuddheji. I mean, he created a revolution in Vastu. Sahasrabuddheji's books are good. Maya Mattam, the classical work is.
Mm-hmm. And then there is the Vishkan Prakash as well, right? There is Vishkan Prakash.
Vishkan.
That's a classic. That's where I think Vastu, A.B. Shuklaji has taken a lot of reference material from that as well.
Okay. Varun, any good questions?
So, yes, sir. There are a lot questions coming. Okay, sir, the next question is on astrology, not on Vastu. Someone has asked for a remedy for Vish Yog in the 10th house, Scorpio Rashi.
Okay. You have to, my knowledge of yoga is a bit light, but I'm assuming this is Moon and Saturn together, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Srini, you want to have a go at this? You are in a better position than me.
What is the sign that was said?
Sir, it is Vish Yog forming in the 10th house in Scorpio, I presume so.
Is it Lagna Scorpio, 10th house Scorpio?
10th house Scorpio.
Yes.
So that's a water element, yeah?
Yeah. It's Aquarius Lagna.
Mm-hmm.
It's Aquarius Lagna. I would suggest feeding crows water.
Okay.
feeding?
Do we know the? Yeah, I think that's a good one because that covers the water element. That crow represents Saturn. So you cover the moon with water, and Scorpio, moon in Scorpio is debilitated as well, right? So don't forget that. It's a wish yoga, but moon is also debilitated. The other thing to look at it is what is the nakshatra they are sitting in, right? There are 3 nakshatras in that area, right? The important thing is to look at what nakshatra, because since it is in water element, so anything to do with water or anything to do immersing, you can immerse things in water. That is the other way to do the remedy. So, and because it is moon being debilitated, I would say one thing you could do is definitely immerse milk on Monday, right? That is one way to help you, because when your moon is debilitated, your emotions are not, you are not a very, your emotions are not controlled. Your emotions are flowing all over the place, right? So by letting the moon flowing in the water, which is a creek or a channel on Monday, that will help you. But for Saturn, as Sunil said, giving water to crow, right? Or the other thing you can do is anybody who is a person who is handicapped, you can feed water to him on Saturday. You can feed water to him on Monday, depending upon what Saturn nakshatra is. If it is sitting in Jyeshtha, if it is sitting in what is the other one, Anuradha, which is which is again a Saturn's nakshatra, or if it is sitting in the Jyeshtha, Anuradha, and there's another one.
Or even if if the person is a Shaivite, he can Shiva temples.
Yeah, he can pour water. He can pour water on the shivling on Saturday, or milk. If you do milk on Saturday, that will cover moon and Saturn together, because you have then covered a Saturday as for Saturn. You have covered moon with milk. But if you wanna make it more technical, then what you could do is, okay, take milk with 2 liters. 2 is for moon, as in numerology. You use 2 liters of milk, and then you can also bring some for Saturn. You can also bring black sesame seeds if you really want to take that, right? Take black sesame seeds, 800 grams, 8 kg or 80 grams, something like that. So you take the number of Saturn, which is 8, and bring that. So that way you can mix and match your remedy. But that's a better way of looking at it. But these are some of the ways you can do it.
So should we go to the next question?
Feeding that crow is a good one, because that also covers your pitris. That covers your forefathers, because crow represents your forefathers. So that's a really good one.
So should I go for the next question, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead. I'll be signing off now. So please go ahead.
Right, sir. Okay. Sir, there is a question from Subir Paul. Kitchen is in the northeast direction. Kitchen is in the northeast direction. Is it good? And if not, what is the remedy?
Now, kitchen in the northeast direction is not good. That's the first thing, right? I mean, it is sad to say. North is the zone of Jupiter, and the kitchen is the zone of fire element. So that zone actually doesn't go well. Even northeast basically is the cardinal direction from water to air, and you have got a fire element which is there. So ideally, kitchen in north or northeast will lead to serious problems. Problems like cancer can happen if you have kitchen in north and northeast, right? So ideally, you should not have kitchen there. If you have a kitchen, then the best way to tackle it is to put in India, they call it as a green Baroda stone. I think that's called. So put a green Baroda stone underneath your slab or underneath your burner. So if you have got burner sitting in the kitchen, buy a green Baroda stone which can go underneath your gas stove. That is the remedy for kitchen in the northeast. But ideally, you should not use that kitchen at all. You can have serious health problems.
Right. I hope, Subir Paul, your question is answered to the best of sir's ability. Sir, should I go for the next question?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
So, Sun is in the Libra in 5th house. Sun is in Libra in 5th house. Remedy for childbirth. Gemini ascendant.
Sun is debilitated here, right? In Libra,
right,
it is debilitated. Right?
Right, sir.
Okay. And then the ascendant will be Gemini, right?
Gemini, right, sir.
Do we know what nakshatra Sun is sitting in?
No, he has not given that.
So that way, that makes it a little bit harder. So the natural significator of birth is Jupiter, right? I mean, in the natural zodiac, it is Jupiter. So one thing you should do is to do a remedy for Jupiter. Sun being debilitated, which is in the fire. What is this? Is in Libra. So fire, earth, air element. So reciting the Aditya Hridayam Stotra every day is one he should do it, right? So being debilitated, pouring water to sun every day is good, but reciting Aditya Hridayam Stotra will help him. So that will take the debilitation away. Here in this fifth house is Venus. So in this chart, even though in this chart, so it depends upon where is Venus placed. Do we know where Venus is placed? Do we know where Venus is placed?
He has not given. One request from the audience has come, sir, in between. Sir, if you could kindly speak a bit slower, they are not getting it.
No, I will try. That's my usual problem. One thing he should do, because we don't know where Venus is placed. One thing he should do is ask him to do activate his fifth house. The problem is he has to activate the fifth house. So what are the activities you can do to activate the fifth house? Is you can be creative. So do a drawing every day while you are in the northeast direction, which is the direction of Jupiter. So activate your northeast direction by say drawing. Take up white piece and draw some pictures, draw some, anything you want to draw, but draw that every day. But do it in the northeast direction. That way you will activate your fifth house. That's one way of activating your fifth house. Depending upon where Venus is placed, we need to look at that, what Venus is doing. So I don't know. But sun being debilitated, it might, it will cause problems. So Aditya Hridayam Stotra recitation is good because it is sitting in Libra, which is the air element. So doing a japa or doing a mantra will help him. But also pouring water to sun every day in a copper utensil will help him. So we don't know about Venus, but at least for sun and also doing a drawing will help him.
Right, sir. Okay, we have an interesting question from Gandia Mona.
Okay.
Gadia Mona, sorry to get your pronunciation wrong. 4 to 5 clocks have stopped after repairing.
4 to 5
what? 4 to 5 clock, which is there in the house, have changed and repaired again and again.
Yeah.
But still, it's not been done. So, what's the recommended remedy and why it's so happening?
So normally, I think this is it's funny that Sunilji is not here. Sunilji actually covered in one of his videos that when Sun and Saturn are together, right, your watch actually stops. So first thing you should look at in your chart is that if your Saturn is transiting over Sun or Sun is transiting over Saturn, that's one thing. Or in your chart, if Sun and Saturn are sitting together, then normally your watches do stop. That's one thing I have learned. I have seen in some charts as well, but that's something I would say to have a look at it. Ideally, if your watches are stopping, you must look at your west direction and see what is happening in west, and also 180-degree opposite to west is east. So you must check what is happening on your west. Is your west clean, decluttered, and is balanced? When we say balanced, that you have optimal energy, you don't have any anti-element sitting in the west. Similarly, you should also look at your east direction, which is sun, to see if your east is not cluttered, it is well balanced, and there is right element in there. You don't have any other anti-element there. But again, as I said, Sun and Saturn together will make your watches stop. But you need to look at your east and west and see what is happening in east and west. Does that make sense? Oops. Sorry, your voice is mute. I can't hear anything. Is that me?
Yeah, got it. Yes.
Sorry, I missed everything what you said. Sorry.
Yeah. Is it good? It is a question by Somnath Acharji that if someone is running Saturn Dasha, can he color his house blue or his room blue? Will that help?
Okay, Yeah, that's a very loaded and a naive question to me. Depending upon what is your ascendant, right? I mean, how can you say Sun, Saturn is done? Depending upon whether Saturn is your Karak, yes, it will be good for you. And if you use your west direction, if you use your west direction, that will do well for you, right? Yes. In astrology, we use dark blue and black as the Saturn's color, but in Vastu, we use white for west. We use blue for north, which is Mercury. So that's why there is a little bit of a difference when it comes to Vastu and astrology, right? But it's very hard, to say, well, my Saturn Mahadasha is running, is it good or bad? Well, it depends upon what is your Lagna. If your Lagna is Scorpio, I can guarantee you that Saturn Mahadasha might not work for you, right? Saturn and Mars don't get along, right? So it is a malefic planet for that Lagna. But if it is a Libra, for which, Saturn is your Karak, yes, it will do wonders for you, right? So, this is, I don't think I can actually tell you what is whether it will do or not. I can't predict on that. But I'm just giving you some guiding principles that Saturn goes well with Venus and Mercury. So if your Lagnas are Venus and Mercury driven and Saturn driven, it will do well for you in general. If it is Jupiter, Mars, then it will go against because they are inimical to each other. If your Lagna is Scorpio or, Aries, or if your Lagna is Leo, Sun is also against, Saturn being father and son, it will not work for you, right? And also within the dashas, right? The dashas also don't do well, even though that might be Yog Karak. First, any odd number dasha doesn't do well, but any even number dasha does well. That is being covered again in Saptarishis Astrology, one of the videos which is being published. So any odd number dasha doesn't do well, but odd number dashas do well for you in general, as a thumb rule.
Right, sir. Okay, we have another interesting question coming up. In fact, I'm finding out interesting questions which helps the full community.
Okay.
Not just basic things coming up.
Okay. As long as I hope I can answer them, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can. You have the knowledge. Sir, if Ketu is below the stairs in a house, what is the position of Rahu? Where is Rahu then?
No, that's not how you look at it. How do you know Ketu is below? How do you know Ketu is below the stairs? Are you referring to the north of northeast direction? Is that what they are referring? That is what it means, right?
No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I have lost the question, but okay. Question is, quote unquote, if Ketu is the place under the stairs, under the staircase, then which place is Rahu in the house?
Well, Ketu and Rahu sits 180 degree opposite to each other, right? So wherever Ketu is, you look at 180 degree opposite to that will be the Rahu, right? I mean, that's simple. Now, what is Ketu in Vastu? That is north of northeast, right? So 180 degree opposite is south of southwest. So south of southwest will be Rahu, right? So what she is saying, or he is saying, is that my staircase is in Ketu's zone, right? And I don't know what is in my Rahu zone. Well, you have to put, that's why it is very hard for me to explain right here. Rahu is 180 degree opposite. It's simple. I mean, you don't have to think about it. What she's saying, my staircase is in north of northeast. And, you depending upon what type of the staircase, you might want to have a look at it. But again, you have to look at your whole chart. Again, you have to look at your whole floor plan before we say anything. For me to guide you like that, oh, my Ketu is in this, can you advise me? That will be doing injustice to you, and I will be advising something wrong, which I will not do that, right? So that's not fair.
Very true. Okay. The next one is coming from Siddharth Singh. Remedies to increase the gains from property, which is used for business purpose.
So remedies to increase the gains for the property. So I will say one thing, right? We said gains is your gains. Wish fulfillment is this direction which is west direction. That is where Saturn is. So you need to look at what is in the west and balance your west side of your house, but also look at 180 degree opposite to that, which is east. So whenever you do west, you also do the 180 degree opposite to that. So any direction you do it, do that. For gains, you must look at west. That is the direction. And also because it is Saturn, so you look at what is the placement of your Saturn in the chart. And also because 11th house has to be there, that is for gains. So you need to look at what is happening in the 11th house. Do you have any malefic planet sitting there? And do a remedy for 11th house. Again, depends upon what is sitting there, what element it is, or what planet is sitting, what nakshatra it is activating. That is the way you prescribe a remedy. But just to say, well, I've got a business which is I want to increase, the first thing you should do is, even before looking at the business, you should do the Vastu of your house where you are living. Then go to the house, then go to the premise or to the factory or to the place where business is. But first fix the Vastu, where you are living, because that's where subconscious mind is. And once your subconscious mind is balanced the house is balanced, your subconscious mind will be balanced, and eventually you will make the right call, or you will take the right decisions in your life, which includes your business. So don't just look at the Vastu of your business. First, fix the Vastu of your place where you are living. That is the first thing you need to fix it. You can't do a Vastu of your business or a factory before doing the Vastu of your house. That's the first thing you must do. So that is my recommendation, is don't just jump the gun and go to the Vastu of some other place. First, fix the Vastu of your house. Sir, your voice is not.
Sorry, Vidya, you have asked for the remedies for solar eclipse. Well, we have a lot of videos on eclipses. You can watch them on our channel and like them.
I will be not the right person to prescribe on solar eclipse. I think Sunilji was in a better position to prescribe.
No, we have videos. We have videos in our channel.
Okay.
We have videos in our channel for eclipses per se.
Okay. Good.
Okay. So the next question comes from Devisha Mahajan. Hi, Devisha. Which direction is to be seen or balanced for better relationship between a son and a father?
So, look, I mean, relationships as such, right? Relationships as such is the southwest zone. Okay. So first you need to look at, any relationship that is between husband and wife or in family members, relationships is southwest. So you need to look at what is happening in the southwest. Now, what is the son and father as such? Depending upon the chart, depends upon, what is the fifth house for that person and what planet is sitting there. You have to look at that. It is very hard. But in short, fix your southwest. And the opposite to the southwest will be the I think it's northeast. Yeah. So you need to look at southwest and northeast, which is Jupiter, which is the significator of the fifth house, which is child. So your child is also coming into that, right? So southwest and the northeast are the two directions you should look at it, in my view, right? Also, if there is a relationship, other side of things, Venus is also for relationship. So the other angle to look at is east of southeast, or southeast is for Venus, which you should look at it. But in general, southwest and northeast.
So the next question comes from Extreme Fun. Your questions are good, but I can't take always your question. This is the last question I will be taking on this session. I can't always take your question.
Okay.
But he puts in good questions. So best Vastu tip to increase finance and have a good career.
To increase finance and career. Look, I mean, there is no, every tip is a good tip, depends upon what you do. In my view, the best tip for Vastu is that you pay gratitude to everything in your life. That is the best tip I can say. Whatever you have in your house, whatever you have, whether it is living or non-living entity, you must pay gratitude to everything in your house. Without that, nothing will succeed. No matter what you do, what remedy you do, without gratitude in life will not work. So that's part one. Now, success and career, right? Again, career, you look at the west side of your house. And again, the opposite to that is east. So that's one way of looking at it. But success depends upon, it's a very relative term. Different people have a different meaning of success. Some people want to succeed in business. Some people want to succeed or elevate in the path of spirituality. Some people want success in sports, right? So depending upon what is your chart, how success will come, that depends. It's very premature or, very immature for me to say something that, what is success. But in general, pay gratitude to everything in your life. Buy things which you need and keep them in a nice and a clean manner. What Sunilji was saying, that is the best tip for Vastu. Don't clutter your house with too many things, which we do back in subcontinent. We buy stuff or we keep stuff for 2 years, 3 years, which we never use. Right? And we say, well, we will use one day, and that day never comes in life. I would say, the first thing you should do is look at your house and pick a day, Saturday. Saturday is the day for decluttering, and start looking at your house, things you haven't used in last 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months, and just delete them. And keep your house clean, keep your house minimal, and pay gratitude. That's it. If you do that, I can assure you, 50% of your remedies are not needed. But have gratitude.
Right. Sir, can I go for the next question?
Yes, please.
Sir, Manish Jain has asked a question. What is the importance of Vastu Purush?
Okay. Look, that's a good point. So Vastu Purush, is the, there is a mythical story about that, how Vastu Purush came from. She was, I think she was sweat, or she was dropped and laid down, facing downwards, right? So what Vastu Purush is basically doing is he's actually lying down from northeast to the southwest, lying down in his face downwards, and he's a living entity which is sitting in your house. So what it means is that if you look at the way he's lying and the zones where his body is lying, he's a living entity. And if you get sick, say for example, you are sick in your right hand or something wrong in your right hand, so the first thing we will look at it is what is Vastu Purush's right hand, and look at that direction, because most likely you have done something wrong in that direction, because your right hand is giving you grief or giving you a problem. So we will look at Vastu Purush right hand. So whatever Vastu Purush is suffering, the members of the family will suffer, depending upon what is the dasha and antardasha of that person is running, right? So if somebody has got a problem in his legs, so we will also look at, okay, if it is right leg or left leg or both the legs, we will look at where is the Vastu Purush leg, and then we'll see what zone is that. There is something wrong in that zone. We have put some wrong element, or we have put some anti-element, or we have done something. For example, the tummy of the Vastu Purush is in the center of the house, right? So we always say that don't put anything in the center of the house, because that's where the tummy is, right? So if you put anything at the center of the house, like a heavy stuff or a fire, then that tummy will go away, right? That Vastu Purush cannot live in that house. He cannot digest food, and he will die. And if he dies, the owner of that property dies, right? So that's why Vastu Purush is a representation of the person who you are, who is living in your house. If any problem happens to you, that means the Vastu Purush is impacted and you are getting impacted. Does that make sense? It's a true reflection of you who is lying in your house. It's the Devta who is lying in your house, which is you, right? So any impact on him will come to you or to the family members, depending upon the dashas. Does that make sense, or I need to clarify?
Absolutely. Okay. Another quite critical question has come. Though it's quite understandable, the answer is, but still I would like to know it from you, is there are many members in a family.
Mm-hmm.
Whose chart? There are many members in a family.
Correct.
Whose chart represents the Vastu of the house?
Well, the Vastu of the house traditionally or ideally should be looked at who is the owner of the house, or the person in whose name the house is, right? So because he's the owner, so that property is in his name, or that structure in his name. Having said that, the next question is, well, I've done Vastu for that person who owns the house, but there are other people who live in the house. How does that Vastu affect it, right? That comes to the dasha and antardasha of that other person, depending upon what is the dasha and antardasha and what that planet is, and what that planet means, what that direction is getting impacted. So depending upon the other person's dasha and antardasha, you go and look at it, whether that zone is causing any grief to the second person. While we have balanced the house for the owner of the property, which is fine, but we still need to look at the chart of the other people who are living in the house, because according to their dasha antardasha, the different zones will be impacting them. So we need to balance that according to that. So that's the short answer is the person who owns the property. If it is a joint, then you have to look at both the charts, husband and wife, or two business partners, or whatever it is. But it is the owner of the house or person who is leasing the property.
Okay, got it. Okay, the next question we will be taking on astrology. So what about the malefics occupying the kendras in a birth chart?
So again,
it's a general question, basically.
Yeah, no, well, you said malefics occupying Kendra as well. It's not going to give you give you any good result, right? I mean, there is nothing I can tell you, right? Now the question is, what is that malefic? What nakshatra it is sitting in, right? What type of house or lord it is representing? What nakshatra it is activating? Then we can say this is the remedy for that. But if you say
sir, it's such a general question that, like, if I have a stomach ache, what medicine should I take?
Yeah, I mean, stomach ache is okay, but you can say, okay, you have some prescribed medicine for stomach ache, but this one is it's not a disrespect to the person who is asking that. That's a fair question, but I think you can't we can't define a remedy like that. Sorry.
Not an issue. Vin Samurai, please put down your question again. Bit specific now. We'll be grateful to answer you. Okay, coming to the next question. This is, we have taken Manish Jain, we have taken your question already. Okay, sir, what is, it's so fast again. So just give me a second. Sir, the question is from K.S. Narayana Rao. In case of duplex houses, how to decide on kitchen and master bedroom?
Duplex houses means what? What does a duplex house mean?
Duplex houses means technically in India that we have two flats converted together with a staircase connecting both the flats.
Yeah, so look, that's a good point. But the basic premise is same, right? You take the first floor and you take the second floor, right? And you use you treat them as two separate floors, right? And then do the Vastu. You don't just treat them as one single floor because the energy zones are different, right? So the stair is just a connectivity from first floor to second floor, just like you have. But I would say, just use two separate floors. Don't use one single floor. That will be my view.
Okay. Next question is from Rajnish Pathak. Well, Rajnish, this is not exactly a Vastu question, but still I'll put it to sir. Sir, is there any particular zone in a house where people can, if people does exercise, can lose weight?
Right. I mean, okay. All right. So let's, let's break down the problem, right? So what is weight, right? Weight is fat, right? What is fat? Fat is Jupiter, right? So what is Jupiter? Jupiter is northeast, right? So depending upon where your Jupiter is sitting in the chart, it's not, what zone you should see. Depending upon where your Jupiter is sitting in the chart, you need to control that direction. So look at what is your northeast, what is happening in your northeast. Opposite to that is southwest. You need to balance your northeast and southwest. Then I think your weight problem should go away, right? I mean, don't just think, what is the zone. Think like what is the problem, what that problem signifies, right? And what that signification means in terms of that, what is the significator of that problem in terms of planet, and then what is the direction. Go by that. Break down your problem. Don't just go by. I actually find this, specifically in subcontinent, people just want these shortcut solutions without even thinking about the problem straight through or looking at the bigger picture, right? You need to break down the problem and then come up with the solution rather than just asking for a remedy like that. My suggestion is, try to break down the problem, and then you don't even have to come to us. You can design your own remedy. And I'm serious. This is something anybody can do that. So do it that way. What I've suggested. The other way to do it is because it is fat. So donate. You can donate potatoes with your own hands on Thursday. That's one thing you can do because you want to lose fat. So you can donate potatoes, and because it is Jupiter, so you should donate in the multiples of 3. So that means you can donate 3 kg, 30 kg, or 12 kg, something like that, with your own hand. So try to donate potatoes, which represents fat, and so that will help you in losing the weight.
Okay, we have a marriage question here coming from a Cancer ascendant. Venus and Sun both in 17 degrees, close conjunct in 9th house. Same nakshatra, Aslesha.
Okay.
And Mercury also in the same house at 14 degree.
So Ashlesha, Venus and Sun in Cancer ascendant means Venus and Sun are sitting in ascendant, right?
Right. So a bit slowly. We are missing your beat. What remedies? So the question is, what remedies is for marriage, Vastu, and how will Venus act?
Yeah, Venus and Sun is depending upon which is behind, whether Venus is behind the Sun or Sun is behind the Venus, that will change.
Both at 17 degrees.
No, but which is behind? Is it Venus behind the Sun or Sun is behind the Venus?
That's not written, sir.
Yeah, okay. So, that's very generic, right? Venus and Sun together, look, it's a Cancer ascendant. So it's a lot of Leo, Virgo, 4th house sitting in first, right? So which is not that bad. In Cancer, but Venus is sitting in the Moon's house, right? So that's not a good placement either. So I don't want to say anything. Venus Moon doesn't give you a good combination as such, and also it is the 11th house. 11th house sitting in the first, the 4th and 11th sitting in the first, and then your 2nd house sitting in the first. So I would say an Ashlesha, right? So you have to look at, even though the planet is Mercury, but the god to tackle that is actually serpent. That's Rahu. It's a snake, right? So I would say the native should use lot of sandalwood to keep it with them, or use sandal oil to keep it with them. That will reduce the Ashlesha effect of Venus. I don't know if Sun is as well, but I'm assuming Venus is an Ashlesha, yeah? Venus is an Ashlesha, yeah?
Venus is an Ashlesha, right?
Venus is an Ashlesha, yeah? So that's one thing, that use sandalwood or sandal oil or sandal soap for your day-to-day use. And for Ashlesha, the best thing you can do, let me just have a look at my book. Okay. Is to, because it is serpent, right? So worshiping of Lord Shiva will help, or donating cosmetics on on Friday will help. That will help you. Yeah, the best thing is to keep a sandalwood, or use sandal oil on your body, or use sandal soap, or use sandal fragrance where you are living. So if you are in your house, use a lot of sandal fragrance to spray in your room, or you can use a mist, but use a lot of sandal. That will calm the energy of Ashlesha, right? Even though it's in Mercury, but the god to control is a serpent, right? So that is a snake. So I would say use that. In general, Sun and Venus combination, I should not comment on that, but sitting in Cancer with Venus, you could have problems in marriage. That's for sure.
Right, sir. Okay, Punit Mehra has asked a question. True nodes or mean nodes, what should be used? Punit, we have at least 5 videos on this in our channel, discussed threadbare by all astrologers. Just have a look at it. I will be grateful. That will answer all your questions. Okay, now Rajneesh Pathak, you have a question. Sir, the question from Rajneesh is, retrograde Saturn in 12th house, Tula Rashi.
Okay, so what does he...
Requesting for some remedy.
Okay, so, Saturn in the 12th house is not bad. And what is in Libra, right?
Yeah, Tula Rashi, so yeah, Libra.
So, that's a Yog Karak. Venus is Yog Karak. Venus is Yog Karak for Saturn, right? As such, so Venus is a friendly place, and Saturn in Libra is exalted depending upon what degree it is. I don't know how many degrees it is. And retrograde, exalted, so retrograde, depending upon whether it is exalted or not. But if it is retrograde, exalted, then it will give a result of a debilitated planet, correct? But if it is retrograde and not exalted, then it's not that bad, okay? So Saturn in Libra, which is again fire, earth, air, right? So I will say, do a lot of the Shani Stotra, or the what we call, just give me a sec. Dashrath Shani Stotra, right? That is something which is also mentioned in the book. But recite, Dashrath Shani Stotra. There is a mythical story about how Dashrath Maharaj stopped Shani coming to his his kingdom while worshipping that. So this has been coming from, I think, Skanda Puran and the Garuda Skanda Puran from, which is being mentioned there. And I think in Narad Puran as well, it is being mentioned. Do the Dashrath Shani Stotra, because Libra is the air element. So anything to do with jap, anything to do with recitation, anything to do with mantra will help you rather than doing donation or immersing something. That's first thing, being an air element. So that's one thing you should do it. The other thing to do with Saturn retrograde in Libra. So I don't know what nakshatra it is. We don't know what nakshatra, right? Without nakshatra, it makes it a little bit harder. Nothing else. Do we know the nakshatra? Is it in Chitra, Swati, or what? Vishakha? We don't know, right? No, because that will help. Because that will actually help us in fine-tuning the remedy, right? But in general, right, Saturn remedy, the other thing you should do is do a evening walk, right? Because Saturn represents your legs and 10th house. So doing evening walk is must. And when I say evening walk, which is a Sandhya Kal, dusk and dawn, use that time to do evening walk. Other generic remedy, which we normally tell people is, and I think Sunilji has covered this on various times on this channel, is to donate a prosthetic leg to a person who needs it. That will help you. That will do wonders in your life. Donate a prosthetic leg to somebody who needs it. And don't just donate money. Go there and find the person who needs it and use your personal hands to give that prosthetic leg and take a blessing from that person. And that person will bless you for your whole life. It doesn't cost you more than 5,000 to 10,000 rupees. But this is the best remedy for Saturn retrograde or non-retrograde. I would encourage everyone to donate a prosthetic leg, somebody who needs it. Do it. Don't think about it. We spend so much money on birthday parties, on Valentine's Day and all that. But, this is the worthy thing. We should do it.
Very true. Okay. Next question is coming from Mr. Verma. Okay. They are having dispute in their house.
Mm-hmm.
They are having dispute in their house. They are not getting that compatibility between husband and wife.
Okay.
And I don't know whether both have Tula Lagna or not, but Verma, Mr. Verma or Mrs. Verma, whoever is putting up this question, has a Tula Lagna. Venus is in the 6th house and Saturn is retro with Moon in Cancer sign. Mars is 4. Mars is again in Cancer.
Sorry, so Libra Lagna, Mars in Cancer 4th. What Lagna is this?
Mars is in the 4th house. Mars is in the 4th house. And Saturn retro with Moon in Cancer.
But what is Libra? Libra is Libra Lagna, right?
No, Tula Lagna.
Tula is Libra, right?
Yeah.
So Mars in 4th, Mars in 4th means it is Manglik, right? First of all.
Yes.
Mars in 4th, that is a Manglik dosh, right? So you first have to check, on your compatibility of your partner and you, whether both of you are Manglik or not. One thing I would say, and there is a lot of fear in subcontinent that a person, so let's first understand what is a Manglik dosh, right? A Manglik dosh is not something which has just come from. What that means in layman terms, when there is a Manglik dosh in somebody's chart, that means that person have a more of a Mars energy. And Mars is all about passion and, high. He's the commander of the chief, right? He's the commander. He doesn't think. He just takes orders and passionately drives his outcomes, right? So if you have Mars like that, or you have a Manglik dosh, that means that person has got too much energy in his body composition. And in order to live a life with the counterpart or with the partner, he needs somebody who has got the same level of energy. So that means his Mars and her Mars has to be on the same level of compatible energy. That is what Manglik means, right? And so ideally, we say that after 28, if you want to marry somebody, you want to find a person who is on the same plane, right? Or on the same level of energy. And ideally, we say that, anybody who marries before 28, you're not matured enough to get married. So that's why we say anybody who has a Manglik dosh should marry after 28 or 32. Otherwise, you will run away from that person. You have not been mature. That's part one. So that's more to do with the Manglik dosh, right? So you need to find person who are Manglik or have the same Mars energy level. That will reduce the effect. That's part one. Now, part two is you're having disputes with your wife. So you have to also see what, where is your bedroom or where you are sleeping. So if you are sleeping in the zone of Rahu, which is south of southwest, then I can assure you that your marriage is not going to last. That is one thing. So you need to look at what zone of the house you are sleeping in. That's part one. South of southwest is not the place to sleep, right? Now, the other things which could be happening is the influence of Rahu, because Rahu will break. And what was the other thing they were asking the question? They are having disputes, right? So
they have a dispute and they want to remove negative energy from their house, and preferably which side they should sleep to have a better compatibility.
Yeah, so the best place to sleep is south of your house. So find the south of your house, sleep in the south zone of your house. And the way to sleep is that once you find the south of your house, that is the place of relaxation. Make sure your head is in the south. Your head should not be in the north. Your head should be in the south of your south zone of your house. So first find the south zone of your house. Whatever that room is or that location is, you find that location in the south of your of your premise. Then put your head in the south and your leg towards north. That's how you should sleep. Now, that's one thing. The other thing you should do is I would suggest you, if you are having a lot of issues, then one of the remedies which I've been telling everyone and seems to work is, jalebi. What is jalebi? I don't know what is it jalebi called in English. But if you can buy jalebi, only 2 pieces of jalebi on Thursday or Friday morning, then after waking up, doing your brush, you don't take tea. Before eating anything or taking tea, feed 1 jalebi to your wife and feed 1 jalebi to your partner. So wife needs to put, or a partner needs to feed 1 jalebi to the other person, and the other person has to feed. If they do it every Friday or every day, then I can assure you the relationship issues will subdue within next 3 to 6 months. This is one of the remedies which gives excellent results, and I would encourage you. Having said that, you still have to look at where you are sleeping, whether you still have a Manglik dosh, whether the charts are being compatible or not. If you're not, then you will definitely have some challenges on your marriage front. But these are the 3 things. Sleep in the south, look at the southwest of your house, look at your chart whether there is a Mangal dosh or not, and then feeding jalebi to both of you on Friday, 1 each, will help you. That will increase love, that will increase relationship, that will subdue the relationship issues.
Okay. The next question comes from what is happening, friends? You all are putting a question, same question every time. So what happens is, even if I'm marking your question, it's just going away. So kindly put it once. Believe me, I'll take everyone's. Believe me, I will try my level best.
So while you're looking at, that one thing which just came to mind for Saturn retrograde, one of the other best remedies, right, is that the parikrama of people, right? So doing 11 rounds of parikrama or 108 rounds of people on Saturday, only Saturday, because Saturday is the day when Goddess Lakshmi goes and meet her sister, which is Daridrata, right? So that's why we say don't touch people. I don't know what is it called in English, but people is the tree we worship, right? So don't go nearby on Sunday or any other day, but Saturday is the day where you go and do the parikrama or the 11 rounds or 108 rounds of people, and that will not only control Saturn, but that will also help in your Venus, right? But that is one of the other remedies for anybody who's having a Saturn not well placed.
Sir, the name for people tree is Ficus religiosa.
Yeah, I've actually written in the book. I've written in the book, but I just didn't realize it. Sorry.
Sacred fig.
Yeah. There is actually another remedy for relationship, which is mentioned in the book, which is actually how to use a Harmony Chakra. So there is a concept of Harmony Chakra, which is mentioned in the book. It will be hard for me to explain right now, but let me just show you. I don't know if you can see that, but this is the Harmony Chakra, which is where both the partners, husband and wife, can put their pictures together and keep it in their pocket to reduce the ill effects. But this is something people can try. But for that you have to look at your chart, and Manglik dosh and your directions and what you're sleeping in.
Sir, if there is a person who is Manglik or having Mars in the 4th house and is not getting married, is unmarried, what the person should do to get married easily?
Okay. So, Mangal dosh doesn't mean that that person will not get married, unless there is something else going on in the chart and there is a, very malefic influence, or, Rahu or some other planet is disturbing the, disturbing the 7th house or the significator of the 7th house, which is Venus in a man's case, right? So, we need to look at Venus. Mangal doesn't mean
it's a female. It's a female.
So,
who wants to get married and is not getting married.
So then we look at Mars, but we also look at Jupiter, right? So we can look at Mars and Jupiter in case of a female, right? So I will not say that, that person is not getting married. Mars doesn't mean that you will not get married. It means that you need to be matured to get married. And that age of maturity, we normally say is 28 or 32. I normally recommend people to get married at the age of 32. Though I know back in India, people, parents get worried that my daughter is not getting married. She's 30 or she's 28. And because of the peer pressure and the pressure in the society, they want to get married. But what is the point of getting married? After 1 year or 2 years, she comes back and she's not happy. You have to remarry her. So I would say, don't get worried about that. Wait until 32 and things will fall in place. Manglik dosh doesn't mean you will not get married. Manglik dosh only means that you have a high level of Mars energy. You need to find a person which is similar on that same level of energy so that your Mars balance energy balances out. If a Manglik person marries a non-Manglik person, then you have a problem straight away, right? That doesn't mean your marriage will not happen or marriage will be delayed, right? Marriage will not happen. Marriage can be delayed, and that is a good thing. My recommendation is get married after 32, not before that, if you have a Manglik dosh. And find a person who is Manglik. People say, well, your Manglik dosh will not be there after 32. I don't believe that. Mangal's energy never goes away, right? So you will always have the effect. Find a person who is compatible to you, which is having a same balance of Mars energy, and then you get married. But get married after 32. Don't wait. Don't think what your parents are saying. You are living in a different world nowadays, right? So 32 is not a age you should be worried. You are independent. You are working. Get married after 32. That's not a problem. In fact, some people have got Saturn sitting in the 7th house. They get married at the age of 20, 32, 34, and they get divorced and they get married after the age of 42. If you've got Saturn in the 7th house, you have a problem because Saturn wants you to get married according to his time, not our time. And people get married before that and then they get divorced, right? So again, don't worry too much. I would say don't worry too much, please. Just wait and just be patient and you will get married.
Okay. The next question comes from Madhvi J. She wants to buy some flat or a flat, but in the complex, all the good flats, according to her, is all sold off. So now she is in a confusion whether to buy a south-facing flat or not.
Okay.
And how to see it in a chart.
Okay. So all right. So first of all, she should tell me what property to buy. Even I can buy few flats. Anyway, look. First of all, right, and there is no direction which is bad. This concept of that, buying a south-facing property is not good for me or south-facing property is not good for me. I would say that is totally rubbish, right? That is not how we should do it. This is some sort of a myth which is being passed on. As I said previously in the beginning of the video, every zone or every direction has got different directions which are useful to you, depending upon what is your ascendant and what is the 4th house and what is your ascendant, right? So for example, if you're a Scorpio ascendant or Aries ascendant, and what is Scorpio and Aries ascendant? Mars represents south. So if you have that and Mars is placed well and Mars is exalted, then why not go and buy a south facing property? What's wrong in that, right? South brings fame. South brings confidence, right? Mars brings confidence. What's wrong in buying a south facing property? Yes. If you have a Capricorn Aquarius ascendant, which is Saturn, and then you buy a south-facing property, yes, you have a problem, right? Then you should buy a west-facing property. So, don't just go by this concept or, somebody said north is not the right direction, south is not the right. That's rubbish. You need to consult what is the chart says, what is the right direction for you, and then buy the land. And again, you're going to buy a property. So Mars represents land, and a built-up structure is signified by Saturn. So you need to look at what is the Saturn placed in your chart. Depending upon how Saturn is, then you should buy a built-up structure. If Saturn is not well placed, then I can assure you buying a house will not give you that desired results for investment. If you're buying for investment, right? Then and if your Mars is well placed, then buying a land will help you, right? So again, different consideration for different planets. But don't go just by this, south is wrong and south is that. That's not right. I will not go by that, right? So do proper, consultation. Just don't go by, hearsay what people are saying.
Okay. Okay, we have a question now. Now this will interest many, I presume so.
Okay.
If people tree is not available, that sacred fig is not available, then what to do? Nandita Jain.
But it is in what context, right?
The context that you said, no, about the people tree and worshipping around the people tree.
Yeah, look, I think that's a good one. Yeah, look, that's really a good point. Look, I have to think about, because, I also faced this problem back in Australia. There are not many people trees. So I also struggled to find a people tree. So now we have few temples which has come up and they have actually got people tree. But before that, we didn't have, and I have to go very far to find that. So look, that's a practical problem specifically for people living outside India. And so look, there is something which is not there in the top of my head, but I'm happy to come back and post on the comments. If people allow me, then I'm happy to come back and post on the comments.
Yeah, please, we will be more than happy.
Yeah, no, I will come back, because that's a very practical problem.
Sure. I would also request that you put up this problem in your comment section, because we may forget or some may forget. So that if we don't forget, we don't want to forget your question and we want to reply to you, kindly put it in the comment section once more so that we know that this is a pertaining problem and we need to reply to it. Thank you. Okay, the next question is Libra Lagna. Sir, Libra Lagna in Chitra Nakshatra, Saturn exalted in Lagna, 10th house Cancer ruled, Lord Moon in Ashwini in 7th house. Okay, 10th Lord in 7th house. Mars is in the 2nd house in Scorpio with Ketu in 2nd house.
Okay, what's the question?
I don't know what's the question. Nothing is written. Okay, what general prediction? General prediction that means
we are not doing any prediction here. Sorry.
Exactly. So 823, you need to put in your question. Actually, you did not. Let me see if by chance you have put it the last right now. No. Okay. Then does salt help in negative elements, especially placed down the bed? Ritesh Pradhan.
Yeah, so look, salt definitely helps you in warding off the negative effects, but you don't put salt in your bedroom or in the bed. Salt, in fact, it's not salt, it's the rock salt, which we normally use in toilets. And the reason we use toilets is because toilets is the place where Saturn is activated. Sink, gutter, what Sunilji was talking about, anything which is stinky, gutter, sink, and toilet, that's where the Saturn is, right? So you use rock salt there to ward off the negative energies. If you want to ward off the negative energies in your bedroom, then the camphor, which Sunilji was talking about earlier again, use camphor in the 4 corners of your rooms, not on the house, but also on the room. So you can put camphor in the 4 corners of your master bedroom or living room. And the reason we use 4 corners, because that's the zone of Ma Lakshmi. That's where the Lakshmi resides, in the corners, right? So you should use the negative energy. The other thing, the negative energy are basically, are these malefic planets. So Saturn is one of them. Rahu and Ketu is also negative energy. Rahu is there, right? So other thing, I think, which has been discussed in the channel before in some other videos, is that use a perfume or use a fragrance in the evening and spray that in every part of your house, so that your house doesn't have any smell or anything which is going off, and you get this bad smell or foul smell in the house. Make it nice, clean, put some flowers so that your negative energy goes away. But use a perfume or use a fragrance or use a room freshener in your house every day, so that, or use a diffuser, right? Use a diffuser to ward off the smell, which means if you get smell in your house, right, that's indicator that Rahu is getting active. That's one way, right? Other thing you should do, and I think we have covered this previously in some other videos, is that Rahu gets active where there is darkness. So don't let your house in the evening, a lot of people switch off the lights in most of the rooms and only, let the light open in 1 or 2 rooms. That's actually a big mistake. You should light every room until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, until you go to bed. But make sure in the evening, every room of your house or every corner of the house has some light. If you don't have a light, Rahu will get activated, right? So don't just use salt in the bedroom. That's not the right place. Use camphor, use fragrance, use diffuser, use room freshener, and use light. Use light in every part of your house.
Right, sir. Okay. With respect to Rahu and Ketu, what are the things to donate? Smita Trivedi.
Okay, so with Ketu, what is Ketu, right? So Ketu is okay, let's go to Rahu. Rahu and Ketu, what was Rahu and Ketu first? Let's start with basics, right? So Rahu and Ketu was a snake as a one person, right? And after the Samudra Manthan and, taking the what is it called?
It's the taking out the exiliar of life, that is nectar.
Yeah, nectar, right? So once the nectar is being taken, Rahu actually got the nectar and Ketu never got the nectar. So Rahu, once the head was chopped, the snake's head was chopped, Rahu actually got the nectar and Ketu didn't get. So what I'm trying to say is that, a lot of people get scared of Rahu and Ketu. In my view, Ketu is more dangerous as compared to Rahu. Rahu at least had a nectar in him. So at least he still does good as compared to Ketu. Now, what you can do, Ketu, one of the things is Ketu is represented by Ganesha, right? Ketu is also represented by a flag. So you can donate a flag in a temple on Wednesday, on Tuesday, depending upon where your Ketu is sitting. That's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do with Ketu is, I think, is white sesame seeds. You can also go with Ketu. The other thing you can donate is blankets, gray blanket or black and white colored blankets. You can donate, and when you donate in multiples of 7, because 7 is the number which represents Ketu. So if you have to donate 7 blanket, donate 16, which is 7, donate 25, which is 7, donate 34, which is 7. And donate gray colored blankets in winter or white and black color blankets. Donate flags. You can donate 7 flags, right? Red color flags. Ketu is also, co-lord of Scorpio. So donate red color flags. Okay. Now Rahu, right? So Rahu is brown color, right? So what is the coconut? The brown colored coconut filled with water. And what is the number for Rahu? Which is 4. So you can donate 4 coconuts. You can donate 4 coins which has got a hole in them. In the olden days, we used to have Ikanni, Dukanni. I don't know, even I was not born my father's time. They used to have old coins which used to have a hole in them. It's like a circle, but has a hole in them. So anything like that, or any coin which has a hole in it, you can donate. And donate how many? 4, because 4 is that. The other thing which you can donate is lead. The metal lead is represented by Rahu. That's something you can donate. And in what quantity? It has to be 40 gram, 400 gram, 4 kg. So use the number 4 for that. What else you can do for Rahu? What else? So Rahu, you can also you can also donate mango pickle. Any pickle technically is a Rahu. Any pickle, right? Because pickle is made by by keeping it for a long time. It's not a fresh thing. Anything which is not fresh, any frozen fruit is also Rahu. So if you have radish parathas, mooli paratha jo hota hai frozen, that is Rahu. Donate that. You can donate 4 mooli, 4 radish. That is Rahu. You can donate that. right? So I think that's enough, right? But any frozen fruit, any mango pickle, if you serve to somebody, that is Rahu. Donate any pickle, that will serve as Rahu.
Right, so the next question comes from, I lost her name, I just remember the question. Which is the best place to place a Tulsi in a house?
Yeah, Tulsi is best place in north, sir. North.
It's a north direction. Okay.
Yeah. Because, north is Mercury. And what is Tulsi? Tulsi is also, any green plant is Mercury. And Vishnu's direction, Tulsi is loved by Vishnu, right? That is, it's Tulsi Priya, right? Vishnu Priya Tulsi, right? So north is the best place.
Okay.
And the other thing with Tulsi, right? Don't pour water to Tulsi on Sunday. That's one day you should not pour water. And some people also use Wednesday, but my recommendation, I normally use Sunday, not Wednesday, but Sunday is not the day you pour water on Tulsi. But keep it in north.
Okay. Taking this question forward, sir, another question is by Dhruv Sharma. If a particular Tulsi plant has two different types of Tulsi coming out of it, what does it mean?
I'm not in the capacity to answer that. I will not be able to make a comment on that. What does it mean? I will just worship, right? And one thing to remember, right, with Tulsi should not be, just pluck and use. In India we use a lot of times, or other places we pluck the leaves of Tulsi and put in tea, right, which is nicotine. Tulsi is not, ideally Tulsi is not meant for that. Tulsi is only meant to be worshipped or to be put into the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. So if you have to take Tulsi, take the blessing of Tulsi, take that leaf, put it in the feet of Lord Vishnu, and then use it. But still, I will not recommend it for tea, but that's what the Charana Amrit is made for, right? Charana Amrit, the reason it becomes Amrit is because when you take Tulsi and put into the Lord Vishnu's feet, that means Charano mein jaake, जो भी पानी है या जो भी liquid है, that becomes Amrit. That's why it is called Charanamrit, right? So Tulsi is taken from there and is only put into the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, nothing else. We should not use Tulsi for other reasons, but that's okay. But I'm saying don't just pluck the leaf without taking the permission of Lord Vishnu. If you have to pluck the leaf, first go take those leaves, put it in the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, and then use Tulsi, not before that. That's my genuine advice. Don't just pluck Tulsi like that. It's a very sinful activity if you do like that. That's a lot of bad karma, which adds into our book.
Right. Okay. So the next question comes from okay, let me see. Debilitated Venus in 10th and Rahu in 6th. Debilitated Venus in 10th and Rahu in 6th. Just asking for advice, basic advice.
Okay, so in general, one thing I will say, when your planet is debilitated, right? So that's not going to give you a good result in general, right? Exalted planets, you don't do any remedy, you don't buy any stone, you don't wear anything, right? But debilitated planet, the idea is that you are going to get some impacts of that planet. So idea is that you do donation and you do charity. That's my first advice. So anything to do with Venus. So what is Venus? Venus, rice, right? Milk, ghee, right? Anything or cosmetics, you should donate them on Friday, right? That is one thing. Donate to girls, donate in temple. That's one thing you can do. The other thing is you can do recitation of mantras. So for Venus, let me tell you what mantras you can do. So donation, charity, and puja part and mantras and yagnas. These are the two things you should do it. I am not a big fan of stones or anything. Yes, Rudraksh, you can do that, but not stones. The only stone I normally say people should try is blue sapphire, depending on whether it suits you or not. So white colored clothes is something you can donate for Venus as well, which is donation. You can donate yogurt, you can donate milk, you can donate cinnamon. You can also donate raw sugar, cashew nut, kaju. Kaju is also Venus. Okay, so you can donate that. In terms of puja, you can do Shri Sukta or Shri Suktam Sutra. If your Rahu is badly placed, the other thing you can do is Durga Chalisa. Durga is Durga Chalisa is one of the powerful mantras or stotras which you can use to control Rahu. Durga Chalisa really works, right? So these are the three things, right? Recite Sri Shukta or Sri Shuktam or Devi Stuti, which is also mentioned in the book as well, right? So feel free to have a look. Does that give answer to the question?
Sir?
That's a debilitated Venus, right? So we covered debilitated Venus. That's what I said. Any planet which is debilitated, you should look for donation, charity, and puja and yantra. Sorry, puja and and yagna, right? So do that, but don't worry about anything else, right?
Okay. 823. Why is all your question messages getting retracted? I don't know. I can't still find your chart and your question in one place. I can't zoom up and down to get your question. Please do understand. Okay. Salt, yeah, we have done it. Okay, thank you, Verma ji. If you are happy, I am happy. Okay, Rahu 12th house, Lord doesn't for. Okay, Janvi has a question. Rahu is in the 4th house with 12th house Lord. Does it mean foreign residence or property abroad?
Look, I think we better not do any predictions here, right? I mean, it's you can see what is 12th house. 12th house is foreign land. 4th house is your own house, right? So it's pretty easy to 4th sitting in 12th is pretty easy to predict, and your 12th to 4th you can interpret that way, right? So let's not go into that. Right. Otherwise, people will keep coming. Oh, can you tell me this? Can you tell me that? We are not going to do that.
Okay. After Janvi, we come to Yashwant Deshmukh. Sir has a question, that is, does stone pyramid and organite pyramid work in Vastu remedies?
Sorry, what pyramid? Stone and which other pyramid?
Stone and organite. What is written is ORGONITE. Organite pyramid.
We normally, pyramid does make a difference because pyramid actually enhances the energy owned by 108 times, right? So depending upon how you put it, if you put it in a wrong place and put it in a wrong zone, it can also multiply by 108 times in a wrong way, right? So pyramid does make a difference. I think most of the times I have not used pyramids very heavily, but there are Vastu consultants who use pyramids quite heavily. But I normally recommend a wooden base or a plastic base pyramid. These are the two pyramids I use. But I'm sure there are other people who use that, so I can't comment on that. But I normally prefer wooden base pyramids or a plastic pyramid. And pyramid is, you just don't go and put it in one direction, right? Pyramid actually has to be placed in parallel to north and south axis. You just can't go and put it in west without looking at what is the, unless you know what is the north and south axis, because the pyramid's edges are actually aligned parallel to that. But again, I'm not a pyramid consultant as such, but I haven't used that many, honestly. But if I have to use it, I will use a wood or a plastic-based pyramid.
Right. Okay. The next question comes from Vimla Rani. Sir, do listen to this question because it's a big question. A boy have Mars in 8th house in the Rashi chart, and the girl have Mars in the 7th house in Moon chart. Rashi Moon. Okay, Mars in the 8th house in Lagna chart for the boy, and girl have Mars in the 7th house in the Moon chart. Is it compatible? Or is it very big Mangalik? What should be the remedy?
Okay, I mean, I think we have discussed this, right? Let's not reinvent the wheel here, right?
Exactly. We have discussed this.
If it is Manglik, I have already said that you just need to find what is the right balance. Manglik doesn't mean that you will not get married. Manglik just means that you have to find the right person and get married after the age of 32. That's it. And it doesn't mean you will not get married. You will get married. It's just that have some patience, get married after 32.
Right. Okay. Sir, I think someone from Australia is interested to ask you a question because yes. I presume Double Bay is in Australia.
Okay.
The question is from CyberPro 1965. Can I buy a property in Double Bay? Sagittarius ascendant, Saturn, Sun, Mercury in the 11th house, Venus and Mars in 10th house, Jupiter and Ketu in 12th, Rahu is in 6th.
So what is the question? He wants to buy a property in Double Bay.
Double Bay.
Okay,
I think that's not a very good area to invest.
Yeah. So you need to look at what is the right. It's again, it's a prediction you are asking from your chart, right? I will not go and do the prediction like that. I will say if you have to buy a property, is this for investment? Then look at your 4th house and 11th house, because 4th house is the property and 11th house is the gains, right? So if you want to buy investment property, then your 11th house lord has to be strong. If your 11th house lord is not strong, that means you will probably end up making a loss from that investment property, right? So for gains, you need to look at 11th house, look at 4th house, and if you want to look at the money aspect of it, you also look at the 2nd house. That's how you look at it, right? 2nd, 4, and 11 are the 3 houses you look at. What do you want to do with the property, right? But just look at your chart and tell me that's not the way. Sorry, we can't do predictions like that. Prediction needs more careful consideration rather than just looking at telling you what is going to happen. That will be doing injustice to you and injustice to our knowledge as well by telling you something like that. So I will not recommend like that. But if you want to learn or if you want to have an interest, then I will say look at 2nd, 4th, and 11th houses for gains in property for investment.
Okay. Okay. Bivarish Guru, Kal Sarpa Yoga has been discussed threadbare in our channel in n number of videos. I request you to listen to those videos, which is already in our channel in Saptarishis Astrology magazine.
Okay, good.
Okay. Okay. We have a question from IG. What is the ratio in percentage of human life effects of daily life, of Vastu, Kundli, and destiny, which will give wealth?
Which will give what?
Wealth.
I love that question, man. One thing I will say, I don't think I can comment on that, which will give wealth. But one thing I will do say, right, and you can also add, please, please feel free to add that. One thing I will say that, the chart, that the day you're born, your destiny is pretty much fixed, and chart is a reflection of your destiny, right? So your chart should tell you, whether you're going to get gains in life, whether you're going to struggle, whether you're going to. Chart is a reflection of what is coming ahead of you, what you were in the past, and what you're going to be in the next life as well, right? Chart doesn't. In fact, there is a video people should go and look at on Saptarishis Astrology. Sunilji mentioned, and I'm happy to share that one of the guys who actually made his Kundali, which is the D1 Lagna, the whole Lagna, on a copper or a silver metallic strip, right? And the significance of this Lagna or chart is that this is not gone once you die, right? I mean, this is existing even before you were born or you after dying, right? This is the significance of your Lagna. So the point here is that this person wanted to go and do the Ganga Snan in Allahabad or somewhere in near the banks of Ganga, but he couldn't go there. So he said to one of his friends, I am giving you my Kundali of D1 on this silver patra or copper patra and take it and immerse in the Ganga. He said, how does that going to make the difference? He said, by carrying the Lagna of my life, of my chart, which is me, on a metallic plate, which is a good conductor of energy, because silver and copper are good conductors of energy or electricity or any energy. You are passing the energy. You're going to give me the energy from what I'm going to get from Ganges. So this guy took that, went into Ganges, and immersed that patra or that plate of silver of D1 Lagna. And the desired result of that remedy helped that person. That was to do with some Jyeshta Nakshatra, that if you have a Jyeshta Nakshatra and you take a bath in Ganges in that year, something good happens in your life. And that exactly happened. So what I'm trying to say is, your chart is your destiny, which is fixed the day you are born, and your chart doesn't, astrologers can predict you what you were there before this life. I can't, but there are, Sunilji, and there are so many good astrologers in India who can predict who you were and what you're going to go in next life as well. But that is your D1. D1 can tell you. So, your destiny is fixed. So I would say, if you really want to know what it is, get a proper consultation on your lagna, on your chart, and know what is there in for you in for life. The idea of telling you that this is so important, that everything is fixed in this D1 or in your chart.
Right, sir. Okay, we have a question from Kunal Agarwal now. He has a mandir in the center of his house on the northeast wall. Is it okay?
No, how is it? Sorry, center of the house or northeast? They are two different things, right? Either you have center or either you have northeast.
Sir, it is written, I quote, I have a mandir in the center of my house on northeast wall.
Okay, let me explain that. Anything in the center of the house is not allowed, first of all, because that's where the Vastu Purush lies, and that's where his stomach is, right? Anything on the top of his stomach means the person or the owner of that house will suffer. So center should be empty, should be clean, should be not used at all, right? In fact, I keep telling this example, everyone, that in the olden days in India, people used to have houses, as they show in the Bollywood movies. People used to have houses like a rectangular plot. In the center used to be a small playground or an angan, which they used to call, and they used to have a Tulsi in the olden days. But now we don't have that concept, right? So center should be empty. Now, if you have a temple in the northeast, that is the direction of the Jupiter. That's fair enough. The only thing you have to be careful with is don't use temple with lot of red color elements in the temple, or use a temple which is red color, because that's not the zone for northeast. Use more of a green color, but don't use red color if you have a temple in northeast. That's one thing you should keep in mind. That's it. The center, you should not have anything, irrespective of temple or not. But if you have a temple in northeast, don't use red color items in northeast. If you have to put your idols, put a green color cloth and put on top of that. And if you have a red color temple, then use a green color or paint it with a green color. Don't use red in northeast.
Okay, Mriganka Kalita. Again, exalted retrograde planet is exalted or debilitated has been answered threadbare with different astrologers in our channel. You are not watching our videos.
Correct.
You need to watch Saptarishis Astrology channel. At least 10 different astrologers have discussed this threadbare.
Correct. There are a lot of...
No point discussing it in one line, because this is not a one-line astrology. This is not. What you have asked is a very serious question, and you get the answers there. Do watch. Okay. Fly butterfly. Okay. So butterfly is going to fly right now. I'm sorry, I'm not joking, but I love speaking like this. It's a Vastu question. Southeast facing T-point house.
Okay.
Southeast facing T-point house. Remedy, please.
So again, this is very hard to say that. But do we know? I think it is better unless we look at the horoscope of that person. I'm not ready to say anything on that. Right. Southeast is basically Venus, right? So that is the zone of the Venus. So depending upon how your Venus is, whether it is going to suit or not, that is the first thing to look at it. But give me something for T point. Just give me a sec. So if you have a T southeast, and if that person is a doctor, then it is good. But if it is not a doctor, then that's not a good property. Anything which is a T point with southeast or south, it's only recommended people who have doctors, right? So there is a concept in Feng Shui which is being used. I'm actually a little bit hesitant to recommend anything on that T-hit property for Southeast, sir. I think it is better to look at the chart and their advice right now. But I can assure you that if you're not a doctor, then it will definitely have some negative effects. It's only recommended for doctors, Southeast property with a T-hit, T point. But I'm hesitant to recommend anything like that. Oops. Hey, what happened there? Maybe lost somebody heavy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I think we lost you. So now you're back. Yeah,
no,
you're back.
We are live again. We are live again. We are live again. Okay. Can anyone confirm we are live or not? Can anyone please confirm we are live or not? Can anyone please confirm we are live or not? Are we live? Are we online? Okay. Thanks, Varma. Thanks, Sonali. Thanks, M1001. Because suddenly our connection got disconnected, so we were not very sure. Thank you. Okay, Shivani Gill has a question. Sir, Shivani Gill has a question.
Yeah.
If we have bathrooms with every bedroom, is it advisable to have bathrooms with every bedroom?
Okay, so again, that's a wrong way of looking at a problem, right? I've been saying this again and again. Let's break down the problem first and then try to come with a solution, right? So first of all, what is bedroom? Bedroom is the zone of relaxation. What is the zone for bedroom? Ideally, south is the place for bedroom. Now, what is south? South is represented by Mars. South is represented by fire. And what is if your master bedroom, which is a zone of relaxation, and you have a bathroom. What is bathroom? Bathroom means water element, right? You also have water. So if your water is going to go in south, what is it going to do? Nothing. It's not going to be good. It's an anti-element of fire. So that means if your bedroom is in south and you have a toilet with your master bedroom, then that's not a right place, right? You will have a lot of issues, specifically to do with cash flow, specifically to do with your fame, reputation, and so forth. Your reputation will be impacted. And your cash flow will be impacted, and so forth. That's one way of looking at it. If your bedroom is in west, which is Saturn, and that's not the place for relaxation. So in the first place, your bedroom is in a wrong place. Now again, if water goes in the west zone, that's not also a good place to be in, right? The water zone is normally north. Now you can have water element in north. You can have water element in north, but you can't have bedroom. North is also not recommended for bedroom. North is also recommended only for people who are recovering from an ailment. You can go and sleep in north, but you can't have a bedroom in north as well. So in short, depending upon where your master bedroom is, that will dictate the direction of whether that master bedroom is right or wrong. In my view, yes, we have this concept of attached toilet and bathroom with a master bedroom, but depends upon. Bathroom is the zone of disposal, right? That's where you go and dispose your activity. Normally, you have a toilet and you clean your body, right? So that's where your disposal. So having a toilet or having a bathroom in south of southwest is good, but any other zone will create imbalance in your body. So since you have said, whether bathroom and toilet in the same zone are good, I would say one is for relaxation, which is the south zone, and toilet or bathroom is more in the south or southwest and southwest activity. That's a different zone. So ideally, they should not be together. It is better to have separately.
Right. Okay. So there is another question coming from Netherlands this time. I just missed that question, but I remember it. It's very humid and cold out there. So if someone wants to put a banana tree, is it advisable?
Look, I'm not a horticulture specialist to be honest with you to tell you whether banana can be.
It's not a horticulture. So I'll again take the question.
Yeah, okay.
It says, I live in Netherlands where it is cold and cloudy most of the year. Is it okay to keep a banana plant inside the house to strengthen Guru, that is to strengthen Jupiter?
No, to strength. Why? I'm not sure if you can put a banana inside the house and it will grow and it will strengthen your Jupiter, right? Jupiter is what? Jupiter is northeast, right? So you first thing you look at your northeast, that there is no anti-element in northeast. If you really want to balance your, enhance your Jupiter, look at your northeast. And if there is no anti-element in there, then you can put a picture of Buddha there to enhance the energy of northeast. Buddha represents Guru as well, right? But just specifically putting a banana tree inside the house, to be honest, I'm not sure. But a tree as such will represent Mercury, and banana tree or banana plant will represent Jupiter. So in essence, you can put it, but again, it depends upon whether your north or northeast is extended or cut. When I say extended or cut, if it is cut, that means you have a less energy in that place, which means you need more of that element. And if it is already extended, then you should not put it. But if it is a cut element, or means you have less energy in that zone, then you can probably try that. But if you already have too much energy of that element or that zone, then you should not put inside the house. That's the other way to look at it. So I would not say, you have to figure it out from the drawing, whether how much energy in the northeast is. If it is less, then yes, you can enhance it. But if it is already more, then you don't want to do furthermore.
Right. Last 3 questions, because we're online for last 2 hours and we need to give our guests some rest. Right. So last 3 questions. The first one. Sir, if you have a triangular plot, how to build a house on a triangular plot?
Yeah, so look, ideally, triangular plot is not a good place to start with. You can have a rectangular or a square plot. But if it is a triangular plot, that's okay. The one thing you should do is build a structure which is rectangular or square inside the triangular plot. Because, what really matters from Vastu perspective, yes, the plot size and the plot shape does matter. But if you have no option, ideally you should not buy anything. You should not build anything on top of that. But if you have to, then build up a structure which is square or rectangular. So build a house which is totally rectangular or square. Prefer something which is more square in that triangle. Ideally, you should not.
Great, sir. Great. Okay. Sonali Desai, you are requested to put your question on the comment section of this video once it is uploaded in another half an hour or 1 hour's time, which it will be, so that Vishal sir can look into your question and answer it straight away. Yes, because I took your question twice and both times it was misunderstood by me or miscommunicated to him. It's my problem. I apologize. Sir, the next question. Remedy for southeast main door facing east.
Okay, I mean, that's again, southeast has got so many zones. That's not a we cannot recommend remedy like that, right? I mean, southeast itself has got 4 or 5 different zones which the entrance comes in, right? So to say to give a remedy like that, that's very generic. That's not the right way to do it. So I'm sorry to say that we can't recommend like that. You have to plot properly. There are different zones within southeast. You will have within south and east. You will have 8 and 8, 16 doors, right? 16 zones of each door. You can have from south to east. You can have 16 directions for each for a door. So depending upon what is one of those 16, we will tell you the remedy, right? Southeast is very big, right? You can have 3 or 4. Let me just tell you one thing. Hold on. Give me a sec. So for southeast, okay, southeast, okay. So again, depending upon where it is, right? So there are two doors which are coming up in southeast only. One is we call it as E8, which is the east, and one is the south one. So if it is on the southeast is 22.5 degrees as a direction, so that from the center of your house, south is only 22.5 degrees like that. Within that, 11.5 degrees on your east will be what we call as E8, and on your other half of the 11.5 degrees what we call as south. So if it is on first part of your south, which is on the east side, you can use a green colored tape on the door. If it is on the other side of the southeast, then you can use a yellow colored tape. These are the two combinations. But again, you know, depending upon where it is very hard to recommend a remedy like that. You need a proper and drawing and your chart, astro chart, to give you a remedy. It will be a generic.
Okay. Prashni Naidu, I can't see your question, frankly. Please put in your question. Your question will be the last one, if you put in fast. Sonali, you need to put in the question on the comment section once this video is over, when this live session is over and the video is uploaded. Maybe in another an hour or two's time. Okay. Okay. Shihari, I can't understand your question. Sir, remedy for marriage. Any specific or basic remedy for marriage? Sitting with Venus, Saturn sitting with Venus in the 7th house in Jeshta Nakshatra.
So, sorry, sitting Saturn in the 7th house, is it? What did she say?
Yes, it is. I'll tell you. Let me come to the question. It's Saturn is sitting with Venus in the 7th house in Jeshta Nakshatra. Taurus Lagna Vargottama.
Okay, so that's fine, right? So two things here. Venus sitting in the 7th house, that is Karka Bhavnashe, first of all. So you have some challenges. And Saturn sitting in the 7th house also means that you should not get married before 36. Thumb rule. That's a thumb rule, right? Again, you know, we have to look at the chart holistically. What that means is that anybody who is having Saturn in the 7th house, Saturn is telling you that you are not mature ready. You're not mature enough to get married at the age of 28, 25, 26. Because Saturn is the farthest planet in our solar system. Saturn takes 30 years to revolve around Sun, whereas the Earth takes 1 year to revolve around the Sun. So our 1 year is equivalent to 2.5. I think it's 2.5 years of Sun, or sorry, 1 month. What it is. Right. 1 year is equal to 30 years. So what Saturn is saying that you are not mature. You might be matured according to your time, but Saturn is saying, sitting in the 7th house, you are not ready according to my time. I want you to get married. And you will get married. Saturn in the 7th house makes sure that you will get married, because Saturn is the only planet which fulfills the promise. There is no other planet which fulfills the promise like Saturn. So that's why I feel Saturn is the best planet out of all the planets, because it fulfills your desire or your wish. So you will get married. Don't lose patience, but get married after 36. No matter what your parents say, no matter what your friend says, no matter what your family members say, or what your friend circle or society says, you will get married. Once you get married after 36, Saturn makes a knot, which means that relationship will last for the whole life. I can assure you, if you get married, then you will have a challenging married life, because Saturn is saying, you didn't follow me. I told you to get married at the age of maturity. You are not matured yet, so you need to wait for it. So wait until 36, and after that things will materialize, and get married after 36. Venus in the 7th is also not a good place. So you will have challenges on the marriage front. But with Saturn in the 7th, I can assure you, you will get married. It is just delay, but the promise will be fulfilled. So don't worry.
Right. Just one request, Arijit Sen. Instead of abusing me so much, had you put in your question, it would have been answered by now. Have some grace, my friend. You want to abuse me? Please abuse. But why? Why are you showing your class in this? Please have some decency. It will take me a second to block you off. When I am showing my decency, please. You are an educated person. Come on, don't be a pervert. Okay. Coming down to, well, I did not get the question of the person whom I was supposed to tell. Okay. Remedy I have done. Prashni Naidu, I have not yet got your question. I am still waiting for your question. Please put in your question. Okay. Sir, if there is a market, this is a basic Vastu question. If there is a market beside a complex which has a Shamshan Ghat or a cemetery very, very close, and if people are buying vegetables from there, is it bad? Is it good? What should be done?
Yeah, you're not living near a place where you have something like that, right? I mean, you have Shamshan or a place where people are buried, right? So, buying stuff from there, I don't see any issues as such. But honestly, I'm not in a position to comment like that, right? But I don't see anything, unless you're living on a place which is made on top of a Shamshan, or on a place where people used to be buried previously, and now they have excavated the whole place and built a structure on top of that, and you're living there, then that's an issue, right? But a market nearby and you're buying, I just feel you're going overboard with too much superstition or too much consideration. You can't get everything in life like that. I will not pay too much attention to that, and try not to comment further on that. I think you're just becoming too much. You're panicking too much about this, right? So don't worry too much. Just follow, pay gratitude. As I said, pay gratitude in life and just do things.
That's the biggest remedy, and none follows. That is the biggest problem. Okay, sir, one basic question. If we could answer. Which direction signifies the 12 houses and 9 planets respectively? I think this will help everyone.
Sorry, say again.
Sir, which directions signify 12 houses and 9 planets respectively?
Okay, so let's just start with the planets, right? So north is Mercury, okay? North of northeast is Ketu, northeast Jupiter, east is Sun, okay? East of southeast and southeast is Venus, south is Mars, southwest, south of southwest is Rahu, zone of disposal. West is Saturn, and Moon is north of northwest. These are the 9 planets, right? So, and Rahu Ketu is always opposite, right? So if north of northeast is Rahu, north of northeast Ketu, then south of southwest is Rahu. So that's one. Now, in terms of the zodiacs, right? So looking at the natural zodiac, which is where Aries is first, right? So what is it? I'm sorry, I get confused with myself. So let's start with Aries, and then fifth is 159 will be the same planet. So 1, 5, and 9. So 5 is Leo, 1 is Aries, and 9 is Sagittarius. These are all fire elements. So that will be East. So Aries, and Leo, and Sagittarius will be East. Then comes 2nd, 6, 10, which will be Taurus. So that will be, have I got it right? 159. Sorry, give me a second. I always get confused with my direction on these zodiacs. Just give me a second. So we do east, and then we do south, then we do east, south, west, and north. So that's how we do that. So east will be 159. East will be 159. Then we do west, which is east, south, west, and north. So then south will be 2, 6, 10. And then which will be 3, what is that one? 3, 7, 11 will be west, and north will be 4, 8, 12, like that. So we start from east, which is 159, and then we go south, then we go west, and then we go north. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Just make sure I've got it wrong. I've got it right. Sometimes I make these, I always get confused with my directions on these zodiacs. But I think that's right. But if not, then I will just post it on the comments. I will mention that on the comments. But with zodiacs, I think I always make mistakes.
Right. Okay. The last question of the day coming up. I'll just tell you, sir. 7th Lord Sun is Atma Karaka conjunct Lagna Lord Saturn in the 9th house Libra.
So what is the
Lord
question?
Saturn Atma Karaka conjunct Lagna Lord Saturn in 9th house Libra. Aquarius Lagna.
Yeah, but what is the question, sir?
And Venus is in the 8th house. Parivartan with Mercury, Mars, 8th and 10th Lord. What does this mean?
Sorry, I'm not sure. Can you repeat that for me?
Yes, I'll tell you, sir. It's an Aquarius Lagna.
Yeah.
It's an Aquarius Lagna. 7th Lord Sun is Atma Karaka conjunct with Saturn in the 9th house.
Yeah. But what is the question, right? Rather than looking at the chart, what is...
the person is asking about Parivartan. Parivartan Yoga, what does the meaning of Parivartan Yoga? And here Parivartan Yoga is happening between Mercury and Mars, that is 8th and the 10th Lord.
Okay. So the Parivartan is happening between 8th and the 10th, right?
Yes. So what does that mean?
So Parivartan means basically I am blessing your house, you are blessing my house. That is the, so it's not just the planets which are changing the houses, but it is also the rashis which are changing the rashis. So one rashi, 8th house is also, so 8th house is is not a bad, the lord of the 8th house is considered bad, right? 6, 8 and 12 are considered as the trick lords, right? And whereas the 10th house is our house of fame and career and our own work and so forth, right? So 8th is sitting in 10th and 10th is sitting in 8th. So what basically Parivartan is saying, I will not do harm to your 10th house, and 10th house is saying I will not do harm to your 8th house. That is what Parivartana means. We will both look after each other. Let's live in harmony and let's not harm each other's interest. So 8th Lord sitting in 10th could harm you because being 8th Lord can harm you your 10th house. But because 10th is sitting in 8th, they're saying I will not harm you, so don't harm me. So that's what it means, right? So give me one sec. 8th. Okay. So what that means is, in general, 10 in 8th and 8th in 10th, people do a lot of hard work because 10th is the in natural zodiac is the house of Saturn, right? So people will do a lot of hard work, but there will be fear of failure because 8th house is fear. That fear is there. So 10 in the 8th means you will do a lot of hard work. There will be failure. And also, whatever is your desire, you should be able to get that desire because that is a hidden house. And 10th is also for wish fulfillment, which we have discussed previously. The best direction is for wish fulfillment and gaze. So 10th going in 8th actually means whatever wish you have, you should be able to get it. But there will be a fear of failure, and people will do a lot of hard work. But in general, 10th, Parivartan means we are going to look after each other's house. We will not provide any bad results to each other. That's what Parivartan means.
Right, sir. We will take one last question before we wind up for the day. And we will be asking you, which direction should we face when we do meditation?
Okay, look, there is no direction as such. There are zones for meditation. And so for meditation, I'm just going to check you which direction is better. but I think it's west of northwest. You can face any direction while you're doing meditation, but the zone for meditation is, I think, west of northwest. But let me just confirm that. Sorry, I think it is northwest, but let me just confirm that. Northeast is also, you can do meditation, and that's where the Jupiter is. So you can do northeast meditation. So meditation is not bad, but you can sit in northeast, but you can face towards the center. You don't have to find any direction as such, but you can sit in the northeast zone of your house and you can do meditation.
Right, sir. Sir, should we close for the day, sir?
It's up to you. Look, I've got another 5-10 minutes. If you have got another question, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. We've got more than 2 hours.
If you have 10 minutes, let's help some more. Why not?
Okay.
Sir, any remedies or any Vastu change required to increase the concentration in studies?
Sorry, in concentration of your studies?
Yes. If you want to concentrate on studies and if the child or the person who is studying cannot concentrate, is there particular remedy we can do, or is there any Vastu change we need to do?
Yeah, so the two things, right? You should ask your child to sit in the west or west of southwest of your house, not in the northeast. The traditional view is that people should go and sit in the northeast to do studies. By sitting in northeast and doing studies doesn't make you a skilled person. When I say skilled person, doesn't mean you don't have a skill. Is that your skill is not employable in the market. So you get a lot of qualifications, but you don't get employed in the marketplace as a highly someone who can be used in your day-to-day life as a skill. So that just increases more research or attributes which is there, but you're not employable. But by sitting in west and west of southwest and keeping the books of your children in west of southwest and west, you should be able to excel in what you're going to do, right? And west is also the zone of wish fulfillment and gain. So put your books in west of southwest and sit there, and you can face any direction in that zone. It doesn't matter what you're facing in, but sit in west of southwest. And put your children's book over there.
You're right. Sir, Ketu and Saturn conjunction in the 11th house in Scorpio. Ketu and Saturn conjunction in 11th house in Scorpio for Capricorn Lagna.
Yeah, look, Ketu and Saturn in general, like, we're not going to predict again, but in general, Ketu and Saturn, Ketu is detachment and Saturn is your work, right? If you just look at what is the signification of work, Saturn is basically work, name, fame, and wish, and gain. Ketu is what? Ketu is spirituality. Ketu is a detachment. So when Ketu and Saturn will come together, it's not a good combination, right? So depending upon what other, and sitting in the 11th house, so you will definitely have, looking at what Saturn comes from it. So getting gains will be difficult, and it is an Upacha house, right? So with time, the gains will come, but Ketu will cause problems in getting gains. And if you want to get gains, then you use the path of spirituality, which is what Ketu represents, right? So in general, right, Ketu and Saturn is not a good combination. And if you want to do any remedies, then as we have said for Saturn, we have discussed in the past, do a prosthetic donation of prosthetic leg. And if it is sitting in Scorpio, which is water element, then donate certain elements like black lentils or black urad dal, kali kasur ki dal on Saturday. That's a certain element, right? You can donate that. And with Ketu, you can donate flag, You can also donate blankets, things like that. Or because it is in water, then I would say donate white sesame seeds as well for Ketu.
Right.
I mean, these are general remedies. Again, you have to look at it whether Ketu is behind or behind the Saturn, or is Saturn in the mouth of Ketu as such, or Saturn coming. But in general, it's not a good combination. It will create problems in the 11th house.
Well, Amarjit Shavda, the problem is you did not tell me what's wrong with your horoscope. Saturn in the 8th house is extremely good. Let me tell you. It will give you longevity, and it's extremely good.
Correct.
So I don't know what is your question. You said Moon Rahu in the 1st house, Aries ascendant, 8th house Saturn, suggest remedy and result. Tell me what remedy should I suggest for which planet? Or in fact, Vishal sir should suggest what remedy for which planet. Please complete the question. Rahu in the Ketu's nakshatra, Moon is in Venus. So kindly, please complete the question. We will surely take your question. That is the reason I did not take this question. Okay. Final hit. Let's see. Final hit. Who is that? I don't find a good. Come on. I want a challenging question from someone to challenge sir. Anyone in for the last question? One question, challenging enough. No astrology, no astrological chart discussion. Anything related to Vastu. Anything related to Vastu. Okay. Is it in? Is the question in? Let me see. Okay. So we have a question. Sir, we have a question. Should I tell you, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, is it necessary to look into Vastu when buying a property? How much is it important?
Yeah, so let's break down the problem, right? I mean, I've been saying again and again. First, don't just jump onto the conclusion and into the solution mode, without looking at the problem. Let's just break down the problem, right? So we said, first of all, Vastu without your astro chart is not going to complete. First of all, look at the promise in your chart. Whatever the promise is in your chart. When we talk about chart, we are talking about your horoscope, which is your birth chart. The day you were born, what was the planetary position on that day, and that actually cast your destiny. That cast your promise in the chart, right? So first of all, you look at that, and then depending upon chart. If you go to a good astrologer or a consultant can tell you whether the property you will buy will have a Vastu dosh or not, because your chart will tell you whether you will have a Vastu dosh or not. And one of the quick ways of looking at it is how Mars is well placed. Where Mars is placed in your chart, and you can straight away forecast that whether you will have a Vastu dosh or not. Having said that, that's the first step, right? You see what is the promise is in your chart. Now, suppose you have a chart which signifies that you will have a Vastu dosh. And the next step is, okay, you buy a plot or you buy a property, and then remediate those Vastu doshas. Not every house will be built according to Vastu elements or Vastu energy. Then you balance that. So in my view, take a two-step process. Look at your chart, identify whether you have a Vastu, what is the promise, whether you have a Vastu dosh or not. If you have a Vastu dosh, go ahead, buy a property and balance it out, right? So in that sense, so what was the original question? Sorry, can you repeat what was the original question?
Sir, is it absolutely necessary to see Vastu before buying a property?
Yeah, I would say it is advisable to do it, because remediating something later on can be a little bit difficult, but that's not something we should not do it, or we don't do it. Yes, we can do it, but obviously it is good that if you can fix the problem upfront rather than going and then looking at the property and then fixing the problem, right? If you can fix it before, then do it. But again, don't use this mythical, or not mythical, but these some wrong concepts which have been floating around, specifically in the subcontinent or in India, right, or in the parts of subcontinent. Buying a south property is not good, or having a kitchen there is not good. Don't just go by these generic hearsay statements. Do a proper consultation, get a right consultant, and find the right person to help you. But don't just go by the hearsay, or just don't go into Google. There is a lot of misinformation is also floating around on Google, where people go in and look on Google and find that. So don't do that. Get a proper consultation and do that.
Absolutely. It's time to go. We miss you all, subscribers. We miss you all. We love this Astro Darbar. This is the time we come and meet you all. But we find that many non-subscribers are coming in and actual subscribers are not getting the benefit. So from now onwards, we will only announce this to our subscribers well in advance. They will get the notifications that when our next Astro Darbar will be held. Very soon we will be back. Next Astro Darbar will be with Sunil Pandey, the rock star. Right, sir? Thank you very much.
Yeah, look. I just want to say something before you wrap it up, right? So again,
sure. It's all you. Yeah, it's all you, sir. Please.
I want to say thank you to you, and also to thank you to Sunil ji. But again, go and have a look at this book. I think this has been hugely successful. But again, go and have a look at it. It's available on Amazon.com in Kindle version, but it's also available on Saptarishi.com. Most of my remedies, which I have discussed about Vastu, decluttering, and your normal scenarios is already being mentioned here. Some of the remedies I didn't come on the top of my head, but most of the nakshatra remedies are here. But my other suggestion, again, it's just a suggestion. It's up to you guys to follow it or not. Just don't go into this solution mode of, looking at a planet in your chart and then say, well, I need to fix that. You need to look at your chart holistically, figure it out. What is the best thing which can help you? The remedies are not going to help you straight away like that. It is not an allopathic treatment. You go in and take an injection and everything will be fixed. Things takes time. And so you keep doing good karmas in life, pay gratitude and do good things in life. Good things will come to you. If you don't do your good karmas in life, nothing will work for you, right? So have gratitude, have good karma, and then do charities, donation, puja, and helping others. That will help you. Keep your character clean, do good things, have gratitude, things will fall in place. And don't lose hope, right? That's the other thing. A lot of people lose hope. Or, I'm doing this for the last 6 months, nothing is happening, right? Well, we don't know what we did in the past life. Right? We have so much bad karma in our account that we have to suffer sometimes. So don't lose hope. Be positive, think positive, have gratitude in life, and things will fall in place. Again, thank you for your time. You have been fantastic. And, thank you to Sunil as well.
Okay. Just 2-3 points after I'm just looking after the chart. Varmaji, Pitru Dosh remedy is absolutely there in our channel. Sunil ji has personally done a video on this. Pitru Dosh, Saptarishis Astrology channel. Go and watch that. And
it's there we have actually prescribed 3 different types of Pitru Dosh remedies in the book as well.
And Anna Jace, I think the question related to your father is extremely sorrowful, and I am very unhappy and I'm lost at word, basically. I'm very sorry to hear that your father is going through such pain and paralysis. But I don't think, it's my view, that Vishal sir is not the right person to answer this question. This is a medical astrology question. Specifically for medical astrology, my request will be put up this question in our medical astrology forum, or to Sunil Pandey sir when he comes next, as he is perfect with mantras. Because sir is perfect with Vastu, and this has nothing to do with Vastu, Anna. So kindly pardon us. We are coming back with Sunil Pandeyji very soon. You will get your notifications on time so that you can schedule your day and enjoy with us. So let's call it a day. Thank you, subscribers. Thank you, viewers. You have been great. We love you all. My regards to every one of you from Sunil sir, and especially our guest, Vishal sir. Thank you, Vishal sir, for joining in. It's too late in Australia right now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure, sir. Let's end the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.